Welcome in, Parvision.
Thank you for bringing me in, Vision.
Any time, friend.
I noticed, I think that whenever I wear a white shirt, you wear a black shirt, and then when you wear a white shirt, I wear a black shirt.
Yeah, maybe. So, believe it or not, I actually color cord based on what day of the week it is.
Wait, do you really?
First page of the chapter, and I gotta say, I'm a little bit sad that we're not seeing the continuation of Yamato's journey this week. Aren't you sad about that? Like, we spend hours talking about Yamato every week. The same conversation like it's effing Groundhog's Day. Now it's not here, and now I feel like I'm missing out now. I feel like Bill Murray at the end of the movie.
We tried to fill up the void with the Shonen Jump and the double spread, but nothing's the same thing as the double spread of
Yamato's chest. Okay, you put us in this hole. What do you want? You can't just start laughing the minute I get you out of here. But yeah, for Yamato,
get me out of here?
I got you out of here. So for Yamato,
jumped in the hole with me.
For Yamato, it's like, we would have gotten the big pressing answer. We would have realized what happened to those kids Dendro captured. Like, are they now enslaved? Are they working at a weapons factory? Or are we executing them? I don't know, man.
You put us into the hole. I wanted you to take me out. Your ass is like, I was asking for help to get out, and you just jumped in. You're like, now what are we doing, brother?
I was just speaking your mind, Par. I was just speaking your mind.
Apparently, the kids are still throwing rocks at Yamato while in the bag. And I was
really?
Like, wait, yeah.
So if I go to last chapter, the kids are still throwing rocks at Yamato? You're right, they are.
They're
with their dying breath, Tsunachi, right? Like, that's what the Wano kids say. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should get rid of them. Wow, they're still throwing rocks. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was what the commenter basically saying. It's like, I think it's something along the lines of like, you don't have to feel bad about those kids. They're still throwing rocks.
Yeah, even though they're captured. Maybe what we should do is we should string them up at the top of the Wano capital and just have people throw rocks at them.
Yeah,
that's their punishment for like one full day. Yeah, Yasue style, but instead of bullets, it's just rocks.
Yeah. Straight up, these kids, who raised them?
Maybe force the parents to do it because of bad parenting.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's great. Are we worse than Orochi if we?
I don't think so. And if their parents are gone because of Wano's whole predicament 20 years, maybe we instead like. You know how in Wano and a lot of Japanese cultures, they put like rocks to stack the grave? We should take down their parents' rocks from their grave sites and just use those to throw at them. Like, you disrespected your family, now we're gonna have to undo their graves. And then they stop the minute their parents' bodies are unearthed.
Dude,
that'd be great.
I did not. That's various levels of hell right there.
Is it for the kids? Yeah, I mean the kids are throwing rocks at Yamato, man. This is like the top one waifu.
No, I mean like the intricacies of the detail. You're like, how they stack rocks and for the dead. Let's take those rocks and stone.
Yeah, you got to hit them where it hurts, man. Teach them a lesson. That's what I'm all about. That's a lesson they'll never forget. Like, if we give them a slap on the wrist, these kids are gonna throw rocks at Yamato tomorrow. You gotta make sure they never throw rocks again.
I'm not any better. I was gonna go I thought you were gonna go this route. I thought you were gonna say like kids like this in like feudal Japan, we turn them into like the super spies that have to like sacrifice themselves. So I was like, oh, we could make them like CP9 agents or CP0 agents that like train because they're orphans.
Oh.
And then like. Yeah, we could use them that way, and then we teach them the hard aspect. But like, I don't know which one's more cruel, yours or mine.
I mean, hey, my other option was put him in the Temu factory, right?
The Temu factory.
Yeah, the Temu Shien factory. Put him back in the Orochi weapon factory. If they want to be in the same mindset as they were back when Orochi was here, over here hating Kaido's descendants, let's put him back in that era, dude. Send him back to the factories. So the first page of this week's chapter, Luffy says, watch out for those claws. They're poisonous. Don't let them touch you. And then the next thing we see is that the giants have perfectly followed Luffy's instructions, not letting a single one of Saturn's claws touch them. And Saturn is locked in. He's trying to touch them. But these giants, man, the giants and the shields of Elbaf are just too powerful. Like, none of his claws can pierce him. The poison's not melting any of them. And Saturn he just gives up. You know, after he realizes that he can't hit the giants, he turns his attention to Bonnie, which I think is hilarious. And Luffy knocks it away. You know, Luffy starts, you know, cheering Bonnie on, saying, hey, Bonnie, you've got this. And I just gotta say right here, man, I feel a little bit bad for Saturn. I feel like nobody's treating him with the respect he deserves.
I mean, Luffy straight up did it in this chapter. He used Saturn as an example. That was crazy. But like, yeah, at the beginning, it like I just couldn't. I still don't know. Are the giants saying what an intense attack sarcastically, or are they like actually meaning like, oh, what an intense attack? Like, I just can't. I don't know. And then like Saturn, listen, Saturn literally the first moment we saw the poison claws, as Luffy puts it, I don't think they're claws. I think they're pincers, or I don't know if I'd call those claws. But when we saw those poison things, because Saturn decided to debut them like 10 chapters later, after those were like really, like if he had used that on Kuma would be not here right now. But he decided to stab.
He would have died earlier.
Yeah, 100%. And so he just didn't use it in the first 2 times where he actually landed a hit, and then he hit like a building or something, and then the building melted. And that melting building, I was like, oh, this isn't just poison. This is like toxic waste. It's
hot poison.
Yeah, it's something like that. And it's acid.
Yeah.
And like, and now I don't know whether like Saturn isn't using the poisons and Luffy's just warning them about. Like, it's like, I think maybe this is the way we have to take it. Like, Luffy's like, watch out, they're poisonous. It sounds like, oh, he knows about it. I might as well not use it. And like, so he's not.
It's like turning off a passive in League of Legends. No benefits to that whatsoever. Here's the thing too: if his poison was strong enough to melt buildings, melt trees, melt the ground, why is he not just melting the Elbaf ship then?
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, but it's the power of Atomwood, maybe. I don't know. Like,
no,
it's
but
crazy,
then
man.
The sails. Literally, the giants were like, oh, I really hope this bird thing doesn't hit the sails. That would be really bad for us. Like, out loud. And then, like, Saturn shows up, yoink, and then he starts poking the giants. I'm like, what about the goddamn ship?
And you know what's funny too? Like, it's not even a thing where they're like, oh, Par, you know, he can't get to the sail because he's, you know, he's at the helm of the ship, right? He can't go there yet. But here's the thing: Saturn has ranged attacks. Like, Saturn could literally just shoot a poison bomb at the sail and it would be GG.
Saturn climbed a cloud.
He could just spam.
Just, by the way, he climbed up to a cloud.
And we still don't know how he did that, right? Like, we don't know. Like, I forgot about that. Saturn just climbed up to the lava phase, and we're just supposed to be, like, okay with that, where he just, like, you know, creeps up with his claws. And it's like, wait, no, wait, how the hell did he do that? How did he get up there?
Yeah. For some reason, he has the destructive power to ram into Vegapunk's lab and destroy it, like, with his face, but he can't destroy the ship.
The power of Atomwood, man. The power of Atomwood.
Like, Saturn he's not getting justice. This is like, if we want to compare, like, you know, like, oh, like it's because of plot, blah blah, like Green Bull was done dirty by plot. Like, Saturn can't. I don't know if it's the same tier anymore. It's crazy.
I don't think it is. No, it's definitely not. Like, Green Bull, like, after that, he still looked decent, right? Like, because Green Bull's like, oh, like, he can't fight the whole crew. Sure. But Saturn, I call him Fattern. Saturn has lost on, like, multiple fronts. He just has not looked good. You know, last week, I think we both left with the consensus that Saturn wouldn't be that big of a deal. And sad to say, because I didn't want to be right. You know, I still want Saturn to look okay. So seeing that he was dealt exactly how we expected him to be dealt is,
I think, worse.
A little bit important. Yeah, a little bit, maybe even worse. Not a single blow. Like, dude, if you go back to every chapter of Saturn, he really hasn't landed any attacks on Luffy. He hasn't even touched Luffy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And now he hasn't even touched a giant.
Like, with Green Bull, it's like, memes aside, I think that it was valid that we were, like, harsh on him on the chapters when it came out, because it was, like, crazy, right?
I was always a Green Bull defender. Don't rope me in with you guys.
Okay. But, like, you know, when you take a step back and it's like, it's not that his display was irredeemable. You know what I mean? Like Oda can show him later on and it'd be crazy. That was my stance. Like, oh, next time we'll see him. Like he's up against Shanks. Like Shanks is it was for the movie too. Like, what are we talking about?
He became Film Red promo, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then we look at Film Red and we see Kizaru sweating and like what Fujitoro's like, oh Shanks, you know, it's like, all
and
right,
then like Vice Admirals are passing out too due to Conqueror's hockey.
So like
that's fair.
Yeah, exactly. But we cannot say that about Saturn at this point in the story. Where next time we see Saturn, he cannot achieve anything. Like there's no expectation for it. If he does something, I'm gonna question all of Egghead. If he does something grand at the very start of it, like he's holding the heads of like even Kid in Law and he's defeated, I'm like, okay, he did not fight them, he fished them out of the water. That's the only
here's the
way.
thing. Maybe he's like Mayuri from Bleach, where since he is a scientist, he loses the fight and then he escapes, and then the next time we see him, he's like, I've studied you guys. I'm immune to all of your attacks now that I've witnessed it once. Like maybe he's gonna be like one of those characters.
But he's already
massive
immune to
though.
Them. The problem isn't he's immune to he's already immune.
No. Like, well, One Piece is gonna be a little bit different. What if Saturn creates weapons that can harm all of these guys and break the shields of Elbaf?
God bless him.
Bonnie, you know what's funny? We should see Bonnie like she's already in Gear 5th by the time we see her in this chapter.
Yeah, I was confused by that. And then I was also more confused because like in the next panel, I just couldn't tell the difference between Luffy and Bonnie. I was like, which one's is this like the Spider-Man meme? Like what's happening here?
Oh yeah. I mean, usually I just kind of look for like the expression, really.
Yeah, but in the next one or in the second page, the first panel, you can't see either of their expressions. It's just like you just see the hair and then the thing, and then they both have the belt and they both have the shorts. And then I was like, oh, but what I guess going on forward, we have to look at the shoes because there's no way Bonnie is gonna be rocking the chanclas like that.
I don't know. Wait, does Bonnie rock the sandals barefoot when she transforms?
She's barefoot.
She's barefoot?
She's barefoot. Apparently, in the next panel, she's barefoot.
Is she?
It looks like it, right? In the next panel?
Oh, she has boots.
Oh,
yeah, she still has her boots on. So I just scrolled further down to when she actually punches Saturn, because we get a shot from behind, and yeah, she has like little boots on.
Let me see. Shot from behind of Bonnie? That's crazy that you said it like that.
Yeah. And she still has the same boots that she like normally has, but they're just like white. Cool.
So that's how we're gonna have to tell from like now on is we're gonna have to look at the shoes.
Yeah, shoes. Or if we see the facial expressions, I usually go for Bonnie's lipstick and then Luffy's scar.
True.
And oh yeah, and then Bonnie's
from the
piercing.
Back, they're the same. From the back.
Yeah, from the back they're totally the same. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I mean, I wonder what an army of these Nikas would do, right?
Yeah.
Like if more people turn into Sun God Nika, like would we also get really like Luffy would get lost in the crowd? That'd be kind of cool.
Well, I mean, this probably isn't a new thing, but I've thought about this a lot. It's gonna be the replay of Big Mom, the cake scene where like Luffy had all the monkeys and whatever act like him or animals, and then it was just it's gonna be that, but with these guys,
with a bunch of Sun God Nikas instead.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
And there might be like in that scenario, there was one real Luffy or one fake Luffy that was a real person, which is Brook. So it might be that like Bonnie ends up being the real Nika that's looking like Luffy but's not Luffy. You know, it could be something like that.
Yeah, we're just gonna get a repeat of that whole scenario.
Yup. Emu's cake. You know, and it's gonna be funny. You know why? It's gonna be the Little Garden. It's gonna be. We were busting out laughing how goofy dumb that was. That cake spinning time wax bullshit. You know, that Oda probably thought of that for Emu. Emu's probably gonna eat. Like what if Emu's trauma is that they never got to celebrate their birthday or some dumb thing, and that's the start of the Void Century. Because they share the same birthday as Nika or Joy Boy, and then they're like, I hate you, Joy Boy, you stole the joy of my birthday, and then they cause the void. It's gonna be something silly like that. Oh, you know what? Lily went to Joy Boy's birthday, not Iwu's birthday. It's gonna be something stupid like that.
I
There's
feel
a
like there
bunch
are going
of
to be a
things
lot of
like that.
silly aspects, but I hope it's not like something that simple.
I feel like
Because that'd be like a crazy 900-year grudge.
the like ramifications and the context are what Oda's gonna make complex, but like the actual scenario is probably gonna be silly. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and you know, I guess Mother Caramel's isn't a great example because that one was loaded, right? It was like we just got to destroy the picture of her mom, and it's like, wait, why do we have to do that? And then Oda hit us because it's not like the characters got the backstory when we did of Mother Caramel, so they're just breaking the thing, and then she's screaming, and they're like, oh, I guess it worked, right? But then we got the backstory, understanding why Mother Caramel was so important. It's like, oh, she was about to be trafficked, like she was in an orphanage, like her parents gave her ass up, she got put on LBAF of all places. Like this is a loaded backstory right here, right?
Maybe
It,
it'll
it
be
might
the
be
same with the Phantom Room. Maybe they go in the room and Emu's like, no, anything but that room. Don't look at
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's like their childhood room. Oh no.
Yeah. So after Luffy
Something like that.
punches the claw away from Saturn, he tells Bonnie that she can do it. And let's just knock out the whole Saturn portion all in one because it's kind of like cut up weirdly.
Yeah.
So Saturn decides to double down. He goes after Bonnie yet again, saying that she's nothing but a parrot, mimicking what you do not comprehend. Luffy says enough, and then they all go in for a double attack that obliterates Saturn, quite literally. And we got this like nice double spread where Bonnie's like running through the memories. We even see like a fake memory down there too. Where like we see Kuma and Ginny both like smiling at Bonnie. He's like, yeah, that never happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
We also get
Kuma
like a
has
little
a cursed
update of
face in that one,
Kizaru
too.
and Sentomaru too.
Yeah. His face is a little cursed in
You think
that
so?
in that fake memory thing. It's like the bottom half is happy and then the top half is like, why am I here? Kind of like his eyebrow. I don't know, something's up with the top half of his face.
He looks like he just got done like fighting somebody. He's like,
Yeah.
yes, I want to smile at Bonnie, but I'm also really tired.
Yeah. He looks a little scared too, but it is what it is. It is what it is. This is Bonnie's dream, you
Yeah,
know?
this is where Bonnie's happiest.
Yep.
I like how they threw in Kizaru and Sentomaru in the double spread. Just like a little update on them. Sentomaru's like
Yeah.
captured by the Marines, so I mean, the guy's not exactly doing too well. Kizaru's over here just laying down on the ship still. And I wonder if they can see everything that's going down over here or like hear it. Realistically, they shouldn't, right? Since they're so far away.
Kizaru maybe. We don't know how
Yeah,
how
we don't know where the
cracked he
ship's
is.
at.
Yeah, and he could just have observation because like if he has observation hockey like Rayleigh did, who could cover an entire island, then like I'm sure Kizaru can like match that. So you
Yeah.
know, and and Anel had like lightning boosted observation hockey that covered all of Skypiea. Like and Kizaru could have like light boosted observation hockey, and that clears like all of the seas too. Who knows? But it's kind of funny because like technically they were her babysitters, right? Like Sentomaru straight up was taking care of her while like Kuma was just gone for like until she was like the 6 months was over or whatever, right? And then she went back to the Sorbet Kingdom. But Sentomaru was like her guardian, and I imagine Kizaru was there too.
Oh
It's
yeah. I
kind of
bet
crazy.
Kizaru and like Bonnie and all of them, they hang out like every other weekend or every week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think they fit in really well right here.
Yeah.
That's why I
That
kind of hope
that
that they're like witnessing this whole thing go down.
Yeah, and that's probably how she got so strong too. Because it's not like Kuma trained her, but it's probably Sentomaru.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he sent
'cause-
Tamaru training her, and then she
yeah,
went back
yeah.
to Sorbet Kingdom and she was like beating up a bunch of the villagers too.
Yeah, those little kids who were like, oh no, that was it before. That was actually before, like the vampire
Yeah, that was
thing with the kids.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
afterwards she was fighting like adults.
yeah. Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
the training worked. Sentomaru's disciple is pretty strong.
Oh yeah.
Do you think Sentomaru's proud? Like if he saw this moment and he saw Bonnie beating up like Saturn, he's like, that's like hypothetically, if this is
Yeah. I think he'd be
Sen-
proud, but he'd also be like really confused, right? Because I mean, when Sentomaru first saw Gear Fifth, he was like, "Wait, what the hell is this?"
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd like to imagine, he was like, "Wait, Bonnie, you too? What? How'd you guys do that?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
As far as Kizaru goes, do you see him getting up in the foreseeable future, or do you think he's like actually like done?
I don't know, man. I feel like he could have gotten up a few times before, but now the way that Saturn got blown off the ship, right? Like
Yeah.
like it feels like if Kizaru's on their side, this is like, hey, I should help them up. I help them out,
I'm gonna
right?
go save my boss.
Yeah, but like I like because I don't know, you can't convince me that he's done. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
just he you can't tell me that if he really cared, he couldn't get up from here, right?
Oh
Like
yeah. I mean, like
the
all of his wounds aren't exactly physical, right? Like he's just chilling, dude.
yeah, imagine Kizaru dying or not dying, but like being out of commission from like there's no slash marks. He's a Logia, like he got hit, but there's like no like he's not even holding a spot. He's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if like the only thing that you can convince me of is that he just doesn't care about the current like care enough about anything happening right now enough to like defend anything, right? But if there's something to defend, which I would imagine the only thing in the moment would be Vegapunk, which he killed. So like, and he's the one who did it. Then he's not getting up, right? As long as Sentomaru is fine, I guess like Kizaru's not caring. Which is also like, wait, where is Sentomaru? Now that I think about it, is he just
Sentomaru should still be on the island.
like in the center?
I think so. I mean, that's the last we saw of him, right? Like they tied him up in the center of the island. Maybe they've taken him off by this point, but
Yo, this Buster Call
Yeah.
is useless, bro. This guy is just sitting and
sitting
nothing.
down the middle, no cannon fires hitting him. Maybe that's insane luck though.
Yo, he has Baccarat luck, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now I think about it. There's one character that's just been sitting still. This is like the legend, like you know, like another manhwa or something, like the legend who sat still. And he's like a
It's just
flashback of like
Sentomaru.
an entire war. Like everybody died, and the only person who lived was the person who sat still. And
It's kind of
that's
like the
Sentomaru.
opposite of what the Atom Tree, right? The Atom Tree is like on Elbaf or some island. It got bombarded with cannon fire, but it stood tall. Sentomaru
Wait,
is
no,
the
it's the
exact
same.
opposite. Just sitting in the middle, but not being hit by cannon fire.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
And surviving. You're right.
Yeah.
Dang. Maybe Sentomaru is like the Atom Tree's little brother.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
because they're the best
Sentomaru
at
really
defense.
is just like what? Like the
Indestructible
Japanese
defense.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Atomwood is indestructible, and so is Sentomaru's defense.
And
So
not
it's
to
like,
mention
it's
Sentomaru
perfect.
has an axe, so it's like, yo, like the guy was he was tied to trees this entire time. Here it is.
Oh my god.
So
This
jokes
is-
aside though, as far as Kizaru goes, like you gotta admit, Kizaru would be doing a much better job if he was here in place of Saturn.
Kizaru would have just hit the ship.
Yeah, or like, you know, create clones to fight the giants. Like, I know people like don't like Kizaru. They don't like the whole thing where people gas him up. But, you know, guys, we got to open the eyes for a minute. Saturn has not landed a single attack on Gear 5th Luffy or anybody here. Kizaru would at least scratch somebody.
I got this.
Because he has scratched Luffy and he's also shot him. So it's like, we know that he's at that level. Like
Let's do
at
this.
first I was like, yo, like I did think the Gorosei would be stronger than the Admirals, but now it's like, yeah, maybe it's different for the other Gorosei, but Saturn, he's not looking great. He's not.
It might
great.
not be different. Oh, let's do this, Sai. Kizaru versus Oimokashi.
Oh yeah, Kizaru wins that. Dude.
Kizaru versus Dori Brogi.
Kizaru
Do they
wins. Like
land a
it's,
hit?
I don't think they do.
I don't think they even see.
You know,
him.
it's funny because like I really did think Saturn would be this pinnacle of power, but you know, just pulling up what Kizaru has done to Luffy comparative to Saturn, it's like it's crazy. Like Kizaru fought Luffy all the way to the time limit, and then he was out.
Yeah, like
You can't say the same for Saturn, dude. Saturn is like. Saturn is seeing Gear 5th Luffy, getting knocked away, recovering, and then by the time he makes it back to Luffy, Luffy's already back at full stamina.
Yeah, and we've
Like,
seen
it's crazy.
Kizaru. Like Kizaru fought Luffy then shot him off the island, made clones to stall him, and before Luffy got back, Kizaru wiped Labo Phase. Like everybody was down, and he had Usopp by the throat, and he goes, he goes like, "Where's Vega?" Like some kind of Terminator ass. Like the Gorosei didn't even come close to that.
Yeah. Like I still believe that Luffy and Bonnie would definitely beat Kizaru, but it's at the point where it's like, even though they beat Kizaru, I still think that Kizaru would have done a way better job than Saturn. You know, whatever that looks like.
I don't think like the thing is like you said. I think Bonnie and Luffy beats Kizaru. I think that the real take is that I don't think that Bonnie would be a factor in the. battle
No.
against
I
Kizaru.
only brought Bonnie in because she's in Sun God Nika mode too.
Right. But like the thing is, what Kizaru showed is that like Luffy could have a cracked power, but if he's not skilled at it, Kizaru beats his ass. Right. Like that's what Kizaru kind of showed there, where it's like you could have this power, but Kizaru will still like run a lap around you until like, and he'll go all like we could both have the goal, and Kizaru could still achieve that goal while you're in Nika. That's why I'm like, even if Bonnie is in Nika, it doesn't matter to Kizaru. Whereas apparently for Saturn it does. You know what I mean? Like, can Bonnie in regular form beat Saturn? No. But can Bonnie deal with Saturn in Nika? Yeah, and that's the weird thing, because it's like that would not matter for Kizaru. Because Bonnie in whatever form, it still doesn't matter. Like, yeah, maybe she lands a hit, but Kizaru would just be like, okay, all right, now here's 1,000 clones. Deal with that. Oh, and all the clones have Murakami, whatever sword of light. Deal with that. You know, like there's not a single thing that like anybody else could do except for Luffy. And to the point, like you could put Kizaru in every single matchup that the Gorosei have been in, and I can't see a scenario where Kizaru's doing worse. And that's the sad part, where it's like not even Venus. You know what I mean? Like not even Venus. The only thing I could say about Venus is the first thing that he did. He ran around the island and discombobulated all the pacifistas without scratching them. I don't think anybody could do that besides Venus.
That's crazy.
And the problem is that he stopped doing that. He hasn't shown that ability thereafter. That would work on Frankie. That would work on Kuma too, right? Like if he just froze Frankie's... What would happen if he froze half of Frankie's circuitry? I think Frankie would be like... What would he be? He would just be butt cheeks by then, right? Like, only his back is human. Right?
I mean, it's kind of like when Frankie fought S Snake, you know, and S Snake froze half of his body. It's like, Frankie's he's done, dude. He has to wait till it comes back, and that's it.
Yeah. So like, I want to give some merit to the Gorosei, but like, this is beyond like the narrative not being on their side, the plot being on the side, and the problem is the plot should be on their side. Like they're the challengers,
man.
Yeah, no, they weren't even the challengers, right? Like
I meant like they came onto this island, trying to fight all these guys. Like, they're the reigning champions for like 900 years. But
yeah.
Like they're the challengers here.
Like they are the gods. Like the Marines are like, oh, our gods are here now. We're fine. And then Jupiter swallows them. Saturn blows them up. Workery just starts ramming people. Like, they're like, oh shit. And then let's not forget, when their god landed, the first thing that they saw was their god getting whoopee cushioned across the island, like beat like Bappo from Rugrats. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, rest in peace, Gorosei, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think about it, the only Gorosei left standing are just Jupiter and Warkuri.
You know what's also rough about this too, is that at this point I could accept that they were like avatars, like they were just like astral projected like player versions of them. These aren't the real ones. But the problem with that is that we saw the marriage room and it's empty, and it's like they're here. These are them. This is their
them,
bodies.
Man. This is what they're doing. Now at this point, I gotta say it, man. I'm just holding out for the Holy Knights.
Yeah.
I'm a big villain fan. I always tend to enjoy rooting for the villains more than the heroes, because the heroes are gonna win. That's just how it is. In no scenario is Luffy ever going to lose at the end of the story, right? That's just how it is. So I always find it fun to root for the bad guys, because they got cool powers. It's usually dark themed. I love it. I can't root for the Gorosei. I mean, I love Jupiter still. I think Jupiter's still one of my favorites. That hasn't changed, but I was hoping for a little bit something more. And now I'm turning all my hype towards the Holy Knights.
You know, and I just want to explain the I can't root for the Gorosei anymore, because like for me, like I like rooting for the villains for a similar reason, because like narratively they're always the underdog. Even if the story portrays the MC as the underdog, it's like no, like the villain's always the underdog. Come on. But like in this scenario, right? Like we can't even say that like I can't root for them for the next time because like Luffy was so cracked or so powerful. I think we both look at their capabilities and we can recognize like no, it was well within their capabilities to do some like egregious damage to the Elbaf ship, the Thousand Sunny, the coordination they had was trash. Like they have teleportation, telepathy. They have like they can kill people on sight, and like I don't even, there's just so many things that they have in their bag. It'd be crazy for them to show their bag next time. That it would make this part not make sense. That's why it's hard to root for them going forward. That like the Holy Knights we can still hold on to, and like I'm 100% I'm going back to remember before all the Gorosei were summoned, the chapter before I was saying like I think that we're summoning, or like was it before it was before like the summoning thing happened. I was like, oh, the Holy Knights. I think I'm gonna go back, and I think we should have brought the Holy Knights. I think they wouldn't have let us down like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think like Figarland. Just bring Figarland. I feel like he has enough like contextual tax for me to say like I think he would have done better.
Yeah, maybe they just I mean I guess they did, but just severely underestimate the Straw Hats. That's all it is.
Yeah, but I think they overestimated themselves. They lost to a Denden Mushi, dude. Like they couldn't even find the snail, and they have the telepathy to find it. They have the hacks to be like, I don't sense the waves for it. And meanwhile, it's being broadcast from the giant that's on the level that they're on. Mars is up there finding all the wrong snails, and then he has the audacity to be like, huh. There's no more unique telepathic waves up here. I wonder where it is. And then York, my God, bless York's pitiful soul, taking like 1,000 years to figure out what Vegapunk thought. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, another thing we have to like remember is that the Gorosei failed when it came to their mission of stopping the broadcast, because it finished. Like this is the end of Vegapunk's message. So at this point, they don't have to fight Emmet anymore, right? Like Jupiter and Warkuta can be like, well, since we took too long, which, what's funny too? While this whole message is playing out, Jupiter and Warkuta are just staring at Emmet. They're not even like fighting. They're just like staring at him. So it's like, they're like, oh, we have to stop him.
You know what?
They're like, okay, come on.
You know what?
I bet they're fighting on the side, but we as the audience don't see it in the manga. I'm sure like when the anime gets there, like Emmett's gonna be like dodging attacks left and right. But over here, like the one panel we get of them, they're just standing. That's kind of silly. I
think we have enough evidence to say that all the Gorosei are traitors. They wanted Vegapunk's
they're all traitors. Not a single one of them's playing for their team.
Yeah, they all are curious about what Vegapunk's message was. That has to, because
you gotta admit, it would be like a blue ball, right? Like if they break up the broadcast, I like to imagine they just walk home and they're like, hey, what do you think he was gonna say?
I mean,
I'd be kind of curious, dude.
But we talked about that with Clover, right? Because imagine how funny it would be if Clover was just wrong. But they just shot him before they got the. They didn't even hear the first syllable.
Imagine they break off the broadcast, and it turns out Vegapunk was going to say the One Piece isn't real.
Yeah, and then they were like,
government is king, and they cut it off too soon. They're like, no, like that would have been great PR.
Yeah, like. I don't know what to think, because I remember going back and forth and being like I forget where it was, but I was like, at this point, the Gorosei should just let the message rock, because like they already the world is sinking. They already get the Nika part out. Like at that point, like what else? They might as well just listen to the end. They got all the worst parts out before that.
I'm surprised Vegapunk didn't drop the Ancient Kingdom name. I mean, he knows it. Like he read the books at Ohara. Like he should know the name.
True. true. Yeah, that was always the thing, right? Like
Maybe he dropped it with the Will of D segment and we just didn't hear it.
if it was like hidden in code, that'd be crazy.
Mm.
Or you're saying like it was cut out of the
Yeah,
message too?
I'm saying it's cut out, but I like the hidden in code thing too. But I mean, why would he
Yeah.
hide something in code for a message he's trying to tell the world about? Like, hey guys, I want to tell you all the facts I learned, but also check out this Sudoku puzzle. You know, like, wait, what the hell?
I thought you were gonna say word search, but
Like
Sudoku
scramble,
puzzle's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
I just thought of
but
Sudoku because it's like almost the weekend.
yeah. The man, like yeah, because that was one of the things the community latched on at the very beginning. Was like, if we get the entire message, we are getting the name. It's the Will of Ohara. Why wouldn't he? And then some people were like, "Oh, I wouldn't like that. That's Robin's thing. That's whatever." But
It's Robin's thing, guys. Come on.
But it's like, no, he literally said, I saved everything O'Hara figured out and read in my brain. And it's like, so why did he withhold that? Now that we have the whole message, now the question is,
it's gotta be with the Will of D stuff. He was probably like, hey, like among the Will of D are the people from this one kingdom a long time ago. Like it's gotta be like in that one segment that we just missed out on.
Yeah, because coincidentally, Workery saved the most important thing, right? Like he accidentally pushed Emmett into the water.
Oh, here's a good thing. Actually, here's a good question for you. Here's a little thought exercise. I'm not talking about hoes either. I'm talking about like a thought in the brain. Like, so if you were the Gorosei or Emu and you could cut out one part of this message, just one part, what would it be? Would it be the world sinking, the Will of D, the Roger thing, or the One Piece?
Oh, it would be the Roger stuff, I think, because
you'd cut out the Roger stuff,
the One Piece Roger stuff.
Okay, yeah, we'll tie it in one,
yeah, where he's basically because that's the thing that the world didn't know. There's a group of people that started understanding, but to the Straw Hats, they don't know the nature of the One Piece. But the only thing that kind of like as readers, we kind of figured it out because we saw Odin's flashback. We saw what Rayleigh's saying, and all the other context. But like Robin's not even sharing all of this context. We don't even know all this stuff. But from the world's view, the treasure is gold. The treasure is like financial. It's wealth. It's power.
You're right.
Vegapunk leaked that the treasure is historical to a certain extent. Like whether people believe it or not, but like they know the true history. That is the most problematic thing for the world government. And if there was anything from the message you delete, it's that 100%.
And not even just that, but he said it's the fate of the world lies in he who finds the One Piece. Like, dude, if it was history, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't care. But the fate of the world, it's like, maybe I can become king.
And like, if you let Vegapunk say this part, but took out the part where Rogers found the true history of the world, and that's the One Piece thing. If you took out that part and you just left this part in, people would be like, oh yeah, obviously the fate of the world, like money, fame, wealth, of course I could take it. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same message that Whitebeard is, the same message that, Roger was perpetuating, but this is now different because now he's saying like, yo, the world is sinking. And I figured it out because I blew up something and that had to be ancient weapon stuff. So like that's how I kind of pieced it together. None of you guys can figure that shit out. But you know who figured it out? Roger, because he saw the truth. And everyone's like, wait, why did the Pirate King know this stuff? Why? And then he goes, they found it, the One Piece. And then everyone's like, wait, what? How did the One Piece is that? What is all this? That's crazy. That's the part that's the wildest.
You're gonna get the history nuts there, but I'm like. Yeah. What I'm really caught up on is like the fate of the world is decided by whoever finds the One Piece. Like the history thing is like, I feel like the history part's good, but I just want to see like what kind of power's there now. Yeah.
I think like this last part was probably the most powerful part because this will instigate. This is the Whitebeard. This is the Roger. The One Piece's real moment, right? But like now, knowing that it's historical, it's almost a question of like, does this demotivate people for going to it because they were going for the wealth, fame, and power? And I had a Nami video basically saying like, Roger said that to instigate, obviously that part, but like the thing is when Roger says my treasure, he can't be talking about Joy Boy stuff because he said that's Joy Boy's treasure. When we got the Odin flashback, we saw that Joy Boy, you left it like a tail. This is like his treasure. But when he went back to the world, he said my treasure, and there's a huge interesting separation that Oda might be doing with the wordplay there. But at the minimum, it's been like a thing.
Maybe he left like $20 there.
Yeah, like he could have left something else there, but what Rayleigh was, telling us back in like chapter 506 was that, hey, like Roger might have said this on purpose. Usopp was like, oh, so did he do this all on purpose to get the message out there? And it's like, how could he do that? Well, he needed to instigate the execution. He needed to get on the stage where the world government would give him the platform to speak to the world, right? That's what he needed. And Whitebeard got that same moment because all eyes were on him, right? And Vegapunk harnessed that moment by tapping in and hacking everything, right? So it's a question of now, what is Cross Guild's reaction, right? Mihawk, like Buggy had the same message to the Cross Guild and they got super motivated, right? But now I wonder if they'll piece it together. Like, wait, the fate of the world. And we saw in this chapter, they're like, oh my God, Buggy had it all figured out. He knew ahead of time. And it's like, we can't figure out the depth of the ex-Roger crew, right? So it's going to be interesting how this affects the world. We might get much more new characters too. This would be an interesting way to get new characters too.
Oh yeah, I would love that. But I also thought about it. It's like, how would Oda actually introduce new characters at this point that aren't like established characters we've known about?
He could. I mean, like, it's not that he couldn't. It's more like, would he? And yeah. I feel like Oda's the type of writer that he could get excited by a new character design that he would, and he could give them like plot lines, right? Like technically that's what he did with like Fujitora and Greenbow when they were just like, oh, these are just monsters that joined. They weren't part of the Navy, but like they got drafted. And it's like, it's kind of similar to that where there's a few gaps where it's like, well, we introduced a warlord that Ace took down. Now there's a man marked by flames. Like we still don't know about like, various groups. Like Oda has the potential to bring in Shiki. So it's like, is there a counterbalance to Shiki? Is there other characters that could come in? I don't know. The
way I'm kind of viewing it right now is like, we're going to get more characters like Balto's Garrotini and like the adventurer, Princess Fuga or whatever her name is.
I so badly wanted Balto's to be someone's first name.
That would have been so good.
Yeah, I was like, who's Baltos? And then I was like, Baltos. Oh my God.
But like, yeah, I feel like we will see new characters show up, like looking for the One Piece, whether it's Marines, pirates, or whatever, bounty hunters even. But I just feel like, as far as like importance goes, I don't think we're gonna get anybody that big out of this.
Yeah.
Minus the silhouette, but the silhouette's probably just a Holy Knight, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this message inspires more people. Like, for example, Whitebeard's message, right? Whitebeard gave the whole like One Piece speech. He died. And then we saw a guy named Pinkbeard and Brownbeard.
Yeah.
Or was it just Brownbeard? I think it was just Brownbeard, actually.
No, Pinkbeard was there too.
Pinkbeard
was on Leloucia.
Pinkbeard was Leloucia, but he attacked afterwards, right? It wasn't during the message.
No.
Yeah. Like Brownbeard attacked like the day of. So like Brownbeard, for example, he was like this small character. He showed up. He's like, I'm Brownbeard. I'm gonna destroy your towns. And then he shows up at Punk Hazard, and it's like, oh, he's a Caesar subordinate.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get more things like that, and that's why I brought up like the Adventurer and Balto's Garrotini.
Yeah.
I like get more fodder.
I agree with you in the aspect. Like, I don't. Not that it's an issue, but like these groups, like when the Revs had extra characters, like the sub vice captains or whatever, like that's in line with Dragon to flesh out the Revs. Okay, right? The Holy Knights is like the limit where it's like, this is an entire new group that we don't know of that hold like some kind of power that should, like, we're banking on it. We earlier in the conversation, we're like, okay, the Gorosei are washed. Like, we're relying on the Holy Knights to give the resistance. But then the question becomes like, because they're a new group that Oda just dropped in, now the question is like, where were they? Where have they been? What all of these times that Meridra has been attacked, where have they been? And it's like, we were memeing around yesterday on stream about like different scenarios where it makes sense. But like, I'm not opposed to Oda giving an explanation. But like at the moment, it kind of feels like One Punch Man with like Blast, where it's like this number one guy, and he's just fighting this like non to the world non-existent god or whatever. And it's like, is that what the Holy Knights are doing? They're just like fighting space invaders. And a lot of people in the chat were like, yeah, that could be it. They're just fighting space invaders. Like, and I'm like, I guess that could be what they were doing. And I just don't know, like, how many times can Oda do that, right? Like, as far as new characters, like, yeah, I would hate it if like Oda drops in like, oh, these are the top 10 bounty hunters in the world. Like, now that they know that the fate of the world's on this thing, they decide to band together and create the new Baroque's works. And it's like, stop it. No, we're not doing that. That's not.
I feel
that's
like
not
for the
cool.
Holy Knights, I wouldn't be opposed to something. I know you kind of said it like a meme, but I wouldn't be opposed if they were like fighting space aliens or like fighting
No, yeah,
something
I'd
on
like
the side. Because
Yeah.
my problem with the not problem, but one thing I'm wondering about with the Holy Knights is that if they are like this crazy pinnacle of power, how'd they get there, right? Because for
Yeah.
Luffy, for Kaido, for Shanks, like all these other characters we know and love, like they have fought people and gotten stronger. Like the Holy Knights, they're up at the Holy Land. Like who are they fighting over there, dude? Fighting
other?
slaves? Yeah, like fighting each other? Like what's
Yeah.
going on? A hyperbolic time hyperbolic time chamber? Like I feel like that needs to be not explained in depth, but just, at least touched on once or twice. Like, oh, these guys got stronger because of X or Y. I know there's the rabbit hunting tournament, but that's just, those are slaves just running around with no weapons. Those
Yeah,
just random
yeah.
civilians.
And the one time strong people showed up, that was the God Valley incident that was forgotten. Like, how many
Yeah,
times has
and
that happened?
Figarland was like the champion, and he probably helped take down rocks or something. Something crazy went down. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, like how did
Like-
Garland get that strong? Like what was he doing before this?
Like, what would have made more sense is if they ran the cleansing event at Impel Down level 6. Like, every 5-10 years, they just wipe, like, the most heinous criminals by fighting them. And that would have made sense. That would have also been, like, wait, that actually is kind of cool. That, like, they hoard all these people because they need to get stronger, so they keep them alive, but also the Marines can't fight. Like, that would have, contextually worked. But that's not what's happening either. Like, we saw people there from years. Like, like, it's just like morally, I don't even know. There's like so many explanations that just could fit that. Like, now, yeah, Space Invaders, fine, let's give it to them. Extra dimensional demons, like,
Maybe it's the Phantom
guess-
Room. Maybe inside the Phantom Room, there's like monsters, and the Holy Knights are just constantly at war with them. Saturn, after taking Luffy and Bonnie's hit, which we're kind of just grouping reaction piece all as its own thing here in a second. But the
Yeah.
last thing we have with Saturn is that we see that he has actual holes punched out of him. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I feel like it makes me wonder if you were a regular person and you got hit by Gifford Luffy, would you have an actual hole punched out of you? Or is this just like a Sun God Nika gag?
if I was a regular person and Gear 5 Luffy punched me, would I have a hole in me?
Yeah, like Saturn does.
No, I don't think so. Isn't it supposed to like rubberize me and like hurt me that way? Stretch
Yeah.
my organs or whatever?
So you think there's like another like Tom and Jerry gag thing going on?
I don't know what's going on. I've
Because
thought
I mean, he
about
did
it.
turn Saturn into pizza, so it's like anything's really possible. Like this could just be Luffy's damage, but could also just be like a little gag that they're doing with him.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just want to see what happens after. Like, does he land in the water and disintegrate? Like, is he dead? Is he reforming? How long does it take to reform? Does he go like, oh no, they hurt me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think out of this. Like, this is quite literally a cliffhanger, but Saturn's off of the cliff and he's Swiss cheesed.
I think
Yeah,
he's gonna
I-
land in the water though. Like you see the water in the backdrop, it's like yeah, he's so gonna land in it, and we'll finally get an answer as to what happens when the Gorosei hit water.
Yeah, does he get sting? Does it go like tss? Does he start like steaming like a hot piece of shit on your doorstep? Like, I don't even know. Like, it's kind of crazy what the possibilities are, but I just feel like he shouldn't. I feel like the water shouldn't affect him like that because Wargreave straight up jumped. Like,
Yeah,
if the
take a leap
water
of
was
faith.
like, yeah, if the water was that detrimental to them, I don't see why Warker would just leap into the ocean like that. You know, because then what would the strat be? Tackle the Elbaf ship and then hit the water and then die? Because that's not smart. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so Saturn, can't just hit the water and die. That doesn't make sense. And honestly, it makes more sense to me that like the water would buff them, because if the other part of the theory is that Imu is the ocean because Umi or Umibozu or Mother Earth or whatever, then why would the water disintegrate the Gorosei? That doesn't make sense either. If anything, like the water, like I like the one super chat that was like, what if the water turns them super big and like is this mega buff? And I'm like, no, but like that's better
That'd be
than him
cool.
dying. Yeah, it would be cool, but like I don't like you. It could be the Florian Triangle, like the random things in the background. And maybe that was the Gorosei. Maybe they were just going out for a stroll. Maybe that's the only place they can go out for a stroll. Is because it's all foggy, so they're like, oh, we could finally be in our final forms. You know, like I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I think it'd be
Honestly,
nice. Yeah. I mean, I kind of guess it boils down to the old question of, do they have devil fruits, or are these actual transformations? And
yeah,
I'm still on the side that these are actual transformations and that Saturn's going to be totally fine.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But and then the question is, it's like, okay, so then what's the stress here? What like is it that he got Swiss cheese and he can't regenerate and he's actually dead? Or that the water stops him from regenerating? Or like where is the problem here, you know? Because from my standpoint, he got punched a bunch of holes in him and he just regenerates. But that also
Yeah.
is just like, is that it? And that's where I'm like, maybe something else happens. I don't know.
It could just be that he's also just unconscious, like he's done for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like Venus, right? Like Venus got blown up by Atlas, and then now we don't see him in this chapter. He's still recovering. It could be like Marcus Mars. He got blown away. We don't see him for a little bit. Like, yeah,
Or it
Saturn
could be
could
like-
be fine, and he gets probably buffed up from the water, but it's gonna take like a chapter for him to come back up. Like, it's always taken a while for the Gorosei to regenerate.
it could be like Kizaru, where he's just like, just let me rest. My mental wounds are so tough. The Giants blocked all of my shots. I can't recover from this.
What if he hits the water, he becomes younger, and he's like, okay, now I gotta lock in. Like now I gotta really focus. But something something somebody pointed out too is that the Gyuki, of course, does have a lot of ties to water. It lives in watery regions. So if he wants to be lore accurate, then I think the water should not be a detriment.
And if it's a buff, then it makes that's the problem. The water can't just straight up buff him like that. Because if it did, then he should have done that before calling in the other Gorosei, right? Like,
Well,
why
it would be a
wouldn't
little bit silly though. Like, hey guys, like I know the message is going on, and you guys are doing your little thing here in Egghead, but let me run to the coast real quick and hop in the water.
I mean, yeah, okay, but like, it's either me pulling in my final form or calling in all of the Gorosei and still getting rocked.
I say calling in all the Gorosei because he doesn't know he's gonna get rocked right off rip, and plus, like, even if Saturn did get buffed before he called in the Gorosei, he would still have like multiple things to do at once, like broadcast,
True,
Luffy, Bonnie, Coop. Like, there's like 10 different things he'd have to focus on. Pacifista. Like, there's just so much that
failed
he might as well
everything,
just
though,
call in the Gorosei.
But they failed everything still.
They took down the Pacifista. They secured York. They have the lab. I mean, they have the Labo phase still in Punk Records.
Did they secure York, or did the Strawhats let York go?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm like, I think the Straw Hats just let her go. Like,
Yeah, I mean, in reality, they should have just killed her because now they're gonna have the Mother Flame. But
because they had Robin
it's like
on
that.
a stretcher, and Saturn couldn't do shit. The weakest Straw Hats defended it against. Okay, defended it is crazy, but like stalled long enough against Saturn that Saturn got frustrated and just started beelining towards Mother Flame. Got spooked. I always have to mention that he scared himself, and like Robin was out there fighting on her back, bro. Like, that's crazy. And it's like, you can't convince me that if they just had York with them, they couldn't just keep York too. Like, Venus couldn't even damage the ship. Like, collapsed Zoro got thrown by Jinbei and defended the Thousand Sunny, and then Alice just blew up, and then Venus, like you said, is just stalled out. So it's like, at the end of the day, they just let York go. Like, they didn't really do anything.
Oh, yeah.
The
I
Punk
mean,
hazard is theirs because they can't bring it.
Ideally, they would have just killed York like when she was talking to the Gorosei at the very beginning,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the Straw Hats don't exactly kill people, and that's fine. But I just feel like that would have solved like issues in the future. Because if York just goes on to create Mother Flames, it's like, damn, dude, we had her right there.
Yeah.
And we, a lot of the other satellites are already dead too, so I don't think it'd be like that great of a loss.
The other thing that I've been thinking about is like Straw Hats had Caribou, and like Luffy should know what his powers are. And now that we know what Punk Records and Punk Mother Flame is, I think he could take them. I think Caribou could swallow all of that up. He's in the cover story, he swallowed an entire factory, one of Kaido's factories. He swallowed it whole. We don't know what he did with it, but he did that. And I'm like, yo, he could easily just take now. Like, it's just a giant, and the electronics, like, I guess the food stays good too, because like he had a bunch of food and it didn't get rot. So like, I imagine he could just swallow it all up and just take it.
Oh yeah, Caribou could have swallowed everything up.
Yeah. Like,
imagine the Gorosei show up here and then Egghead Island isn't even here. It's just Caribou.
Yeah. Caribou's so cracked. I have an entire video coming out about Caribou, and I'm like, I'm kind of scared to know. Here's a fun fact: Caribou's cover story is longer than Anel's. It's longer than Vinsmoke's.
Caribou's crazy, man.
46 chapter long cover story.
Imagine spending wild. Like an entire 46 chapters just with Caribou. Like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, and that's more than a mini story. And Otis literally said that, like, oh, I use the cover stories to explain parts of the stories I couldn't get to or explain, but I really want to tell. He literally said that. He's like, oh, that's where cover stories are really great. And then he goes and spends 46, that's a year and a half on Caribou. That's crazy.
Time well spent.
Yeah. Caribou's here's a question off of the Caribou thing, because I don't want to spoil Caribou talk, but in this chapter we see the Blackbeard stuff, and we'll get to that. But before that, what is Van Augur and Devon? Do you think they're just on the island, or do you think they're on the Elbaf ship?
I think they're gone.
You think they got? But Van Augur said he couldn't teleport off.
Wait, what?
So do you think Van Augur said that his powers can't teleport them off of the island?
Oh, like in one go, yeah?
But like, so like, what do you mean by like in one go? Like, do you think that like he teleports like in the middle of the ocean and then just teleports back? Like he just keeps jumping?
No, I meant like he has to go to the coast of the island to teleport off.
Oh, you think that's... Wait, what? I thought the whole point of him saying that he can't do that is his power is not that powerful enough.
Wait, what chapter is it?
It was 1107, I think.
1107. I've been looking for you. Yeah. So Van Augur says, let's be off then. We're still on the island. Couldn't you have warped us further? And then he says, I haven't mastered us yet. So yeah, I mean, the way I read it is that he just can't teleport them from their current location to the ship. So that's why they're walking a little bit, so he can teleport them again further out. I see. That's kind of how I saw it.
So like Van Augur, their ship is just like floating beyond the Buster Call thing, and they're just gonna teleport
the way I view Van Augur's power, I could be wrong, but like I've always had the same mindset. Like I feel like I've only seen people go against it this week, which is kind of interesting too. But like I imagine like it's a certain distance, like let's say 500 meters. The ship is over here, 500 meters. He's like, hey, I can teleport to the island. Boom. They walk a little bit, or they maybe teleport again. They get to Saturn. They touch Saturn, teleport over here, and then teleport back over there. That's kind of how I saw it. Like I don't think they're on the island anymore.
What if he could teleport to anything that he can like sense?
That's right too.
Like I would imagine like if we went back to Jaya when he shot the birds and was out of the sight. Like if like in my head canon, Van Augur goes to Labo phase, he snipes his ship, and then he can teleport there. Like if it's in his scope, he can teleport there. Like that would have been sick. But like I could see that, and that's what I was wondering. Like because then we're saying that Van Augur, Katarina Devon, and Caribou are not showing up, and they're well off the island.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Because it's been like, what, like 15 chapters?
Yeah, 15 chapters. 15, 14.
Yeah. So, like, they're gone.
Thousand Sunny. We're going to end off the whole Straw Hat segment here. The Thousand Sunny is falling from the sky.
Okay.
And they gotta catch it. You know, Usopp says, "Hey, we're gonna die. We're gonna die from the fall. Someone save us." And this has been something that's been brought up time and time again. Just like, hey, you know, Nami called Sanji, told him to save the ship or do something about it. So I'm kind of wondering how this is gonna play off. And one thing to keep in mind is that we don't see Sanji in this chapter. We don't see Sanji, and I don't think we see Frankie either. Despite Saturn fighting everybody here, you know, Sanji and Frankie are notably missing. So I think they're going to have the answer to how to save the Thousand Sunny next chapter. And I don't think it's going to be that big of a spectacle, that big of a deal. Because I remember the Brook plotline was a thing for a while, where Brook was, he iced up the clouds, the Thousand Sunny was about to slide off the island, and they're like, holy crap, we gotta do something. And they talked about that for 2-3 chapters, and then we come to find out that Usopp simply saved it by using bamboos, and that was even off-screened. So I do think that the Thousand Sunny is going to be A-okay.
Yeah.
And plus, they have a lot of people that can save it too.
It could be that in the time that, like, between Egghead and Wano, because Frankie saw that the Thousand Sunny took fall damage from Wano, maybe Frankie installed something new. Because there is, like, that one gate, like, I think docking number 6 or 4 is, like, free or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe he put, like a wild thornberry like flotation device, you know, like to catch the Thousand Sunny.
Oh yeah, or maybe even like an umbrella just to break their fall, you know.
Yeah, something. It could be that, or as Nami decides to feed Zeus, and Zeus turns into a giant cloud and just catches them. Could be that too.
Yeah. Or Jinbei contorts the waves in their favor. I mean, there's so many ways to clear this up at this point. Like, now that the Gorosei aren't on the ship, or even nearby, because, dude, if you look at the panels where we see the ship, and you see Egghead Island in the background, like, you could barely see Egghead Island. Like, it's a cloud of smoke. Like, they're not chasing us anymore, unless, you know, Saturn can swim, unless Venus just jumps off here too. Like, I think we're totally fine, so catching the Thousand Sunny is going to be the easiest thing ever, now that we have no distractions. Like, Luffy's still in Sun God Nika mode. The Giants can see the ship. The Giants are smiling when looking at the ship, so I think they could just catch it too. Like, there's so many solutions.
The Giants are looking at that ship like, oh, it's Frankie! Let's get Frankie! Because they saw the wanted poster.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's your ship, isn't it? That one guy named Frankie?
Yeah. Oh, God. That would have been funny if they were like, Frankie, it's you! We haven't met you yet.
One thing that's kind of interesting, I didn't even notice this first time around, Zoro. He has, so after the Usopp panel, we see Zoro, and he has like the little notification bubble, but it's not like, oh, like a notification bubble, oh, shoot, we're falling. It's more like, oh, he's about to fight somebody.
Yeah, something.
Because he's holding on to his sword. He's about to like unsheath it.
Might be Mars, maybe Mars is, or Venus. Maybe Venus is coming back down.
Yeah, Mars, Venus. Who do you think it is?
I don't know what, because like the other thing is like Zoro also has the capabilities of stopping the fall too, technically, because like he did that on Onigashima. He was falling off of it and he blasted himself off with a sword slash. So like Zoro could be like this is my time to shine, and he does something.
Yeah,
or maybe he's sensing Sanji,
and then he gets bounces up.
Maybe he's sensing Sanji flying up, and they do like the Davy back fight, like some kind of combo there, you know? Like maybe something like that happens.
A combo to save the Thousand Sunny. Yeah, I could see that.
The wings of the Pirate King coming in to save the falling ship. Oh, that's kind of cool. We see Zoro and Sanji on both sides of the Thousand Sunny, and then they symbolically are the wings. That'd be, oh my God.
We could even see Robin just make wings too. Robin's done that before.
Ah, shit, you're right. That's crazy. Yeah, Robin easily.
Yeah, Robin could easily just make wings and just have them like she. So the stipulation is that Robin has never been able to do it for that long, but in reality, you just need it for like 2 seconds.
She doesn't even need that. She could make like a giganto mano off of the island net. And the ship, the Elbaf ship, and then a net. She's done that. She's made nets and she's made giant feet and arms to catch things. Well, not catch things, but like. She did the thing in Fishman Island, right? Where the ship was about to crash into the wall. Underwater, conjured a giant foot, used Fishman Karate to blow them back. Like, she could use Fishman Karate foot off of the ship. She could put feet on the bottom of the ship and it could just walk. Why not?
Yeah, and I mean, like, even when they were fighting Saturn, some of the Straw Hats got blown back, and Robin caught them with the net. So
Look
it's
at
all
that.
right there.
You just gotta pick your, I guess not poison, but like pick your blessing.
And then, I
Which
mean,
straw hat?
for Usopp too, like, he has the plants, he has the pop greens. We know they work underwater, and
Make
we
him
know that he has the
useful.
trampolina. So
Yeah, yeah.
like, there's so many solutions here. Like, it's hard to feel scared for the Thousand Sunny right now.
Yeah, yeah. It would be more confusing to see the Thousand Sunny in dire straits, considering like the Going Merry survived. I get, in help with help of like the octopus balloon and the dials, whatever. But it survived falling from the sky to a certain extent. The Thousand Sunny was like the better version. It survived Wano. I don't even like if it crashes in the ocean. What's like? Shouldn't it survive? Like it should be fine.
Couple of boo boos on the bottom. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Huh, maybe the Thousand Sunny isn't safe though. And that's because of the person coming by. Like, if Zoro truly is sensing Venus or Mars, then I could see the Thousand Sunny taking like significant damage. But if that's not the case, then no, I don't see it. But then again, like, Sanji and Zoro are here. Like, Zoro can definitely fight in the sky. Sanji could as well. Like,
What if
it's hard. It's hard.
what if Venus freezes the ocean?
Venus freezes the ocean.
Because he was apparently freezing the Kumas.
The pacifistas, yeah.
Yeah, and so to save Saturn, he blitzes. He goes down, freezes the ocean, and he stands there like as a like skeleton horse. The Elbaf ship is stuck. He's looking up at the Thousand Sunny falling. That would be kind of crazy.
That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be that. But the thing is, like I feel like that would elongate this current situation. I feel like where we're at, it's like we just need to figure out a way that the Gorosei don't look terrible and the Thousand Sunny and the Elbaf ship leave.
Yeah.
And it's for the sake of the Gorosei's like image, right?
Oh,
like,
I'm not even thinking of it like that. I was like thinking of just going to Elbaf. Like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing what's happening over there.
that too. Like, there's so many reasons why it should be like I'm not like, hey, if we stay on Egghead, that's fine. But like the thing is, the problem is the longer we stay on Egghead, the worse it is for the Gorosei's image, and like that's bad. I'm not even on their side. I don't even care for them like that.
I
But
care
like,
for them. I still want to root for them. I know I said I wasn't going
That's
to
what I'm
earlier, but
saying.
that's just an exaggeration. I still wish the best for these guys.
well, it's the thing. It's like you don't want bad villains.
Yeah.
Like this arc took the end all
But,
be all
wait.
nebulous villains, and Saturn. We can't not meme on him.
Wait. But like, here's the thing though. Like, you could see it the opposite way too. Like, that's also true. Like, what if Egghead does get extended because Venus freezes the ocean, stopping them in place, and then they start looking really good, right?
Yeah, hey, I hope. But we have now several chapters where we can look back and replace each Gorosei member with a Kizaru and just laugh at the separation in alternate realities, right? The fact that you could put a single admiral and it's just night and day. It shouldn't be night and day between like the outcome and reality of what we see. Like you said, in no world do you see Kizaru struggling against Oimo and Kashi or Dory and Brogy. Like, that's just not even a thing. Right? Like, if Oda brought back Dory and Brogy and had them fight the three admirals and hold their own, we would be so confused. The only reason why that sort of worked was because, like, oh, it's been 1,000 chapters since we've seen Dory and Brogy, and we don't know about the Gorosei. But like, so like, okay, too weird. We don't understand how they're not really being the Gorosei because they regenerate, and the giants are supposed to get the boost, the anime shonen boost. Cool, but if you had replaced that and put a Kizaru there, and Dory and Brogy were fighting an admiral as two giants, we would be like, huh? What are we talking about? And if Oimo and Kashi were like just boxing an admiral, but then we're slaves on Annie's lobby, we would be like, all right. Stop the cap. This is not
I mean,
real
somebody
life.
put it in a good way too. Like, if you replace all 5 Gorosei with 5 different Kaidos, like, the Straw Hats wouldn't exactly make it out of here. If you replace
we
all
talked
5
about that
Gorosei,
too. Yeah.
if you replace all 5 Gorosei with Akainu, Kizaru, Aokiji, Green Bull, and Fujitora, like, the Straw Hats, they're not gonna make it out of here. Like, realistically, like,
Yeah. I don't
the
even think the
Gorosei,
admirals, if the admirals
yeah,
went all out, I don't even know if they're making out. That's how crazy they
yeah,
are.
that'd be too crazy.
Like
Like
we saw
it's
them
just like it's just
terraform.
like powerful across the board. The Gorosei, like they're strong. Like, you know, I don't want it to be like a kid thing where people look at the Gorosei and they're like they're obscenely weak. Like they're weak, but they're still like the strong. They're still the weakest of the strongest characters. They're still like up there. It's just
They're still
they can't
mythical.
compete with Luffy.
They
That's
have
all it
mythical
is.
tax. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
the mythical tax goes crazy because it's like there's a reason why they're mythical, right? But like, you know, it's not the same thing as Kid, like you're saying. It's like Kid is still strong. He's 3 billion bounty, right? But he's not mythical. You know what it's like? Like there's a different like the Gorosei have this crazy tax that we don't understand. We understand electromagnetism. We understand railgun. We understand very strong human character with red hair. But we don't understand the Gorosei. That's the part that they're strong at. We just don't understand them. And
But
nobody understands
you know
them.
what?
So it's like weird.
I'm gonna go back to something we talked about many years ago. And by many
Uh-huh.
years, I mean like when Saturn first was introduced. What
Yeah.
if the Gorosei are truly stronger at night? Like while the sun is up, these guys are weakened. But when the sun goes down, it's the night parade of 100 demons from Japanese lore. My whole theory with Emu is that he's the moon god to rival Luffy's sun god.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
I think you know, even going back to the Minks, what we got like some
Sulong.
weird goofy lore whenever they transform into their Sulong, right? Like when they
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
the moon,
full
they're
moon.
reminded of a battle from hundreds of years ago or just something like that.
They get the memories of their feral ancestors
Yeah.
told to us by Jinbei that the Sulong, the moon lions, once they see the full moon, only the full moon, might I remind everybody, the full moon, only the full moon, do they turn into this, which is, you know, I talk about that with like the punk record theory that like the moon is some kind of punk records type of thing, because it's like their power up is the memories of their feral ancestor, which is like, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's like maybe
punk
the
records
Minks
is
partook
memories.
in a battle against the Gorosei 900 years ago, and that was under the full moon, where the Gorosei was strongest. Maybe that's it.
Any part of the moon that gets them
Yeah.
riled up. Yeah. That'd be. I'm not mad at that. But
Yeah.
then you know what they could do? They could just teleport the fight to the other side of the planet, right? And see the moon.
Teleport to
they
the other
have
side of
mass
the planet.
teleportation. Like they could bring the fight to their thing, and that could be a plot point. I would like that. Actually, I would like that if they use their teleportation like that, where it's like they're like if the Straw Hats are like, okay, so we just have to last till morning. We have to wait till the dawn, and then the Gorosei are like, are you stupid? And then they just like snap their finger and teleport back to the moon, like the part of an island where the moon is there, or. No, yeah, like something like that. That would be kind of sick. I wouldn't be mad at that. You know, that'd be kind of cool. If
Maybe they
used
team up with the
teleportation.
Blackbeard pirates, and they have Van Augur do that for them.
Listen, no, I wouldn't like that because they have the power within themselves. Just do it themselves. Don't get help.
I guess my main problem with that one is that we don't know like how their teleportation works. Like, can it teleport people who aren't them though? Right? Because when they teleported, like they all had their little like satanic circle pop up. Like if they teleport everybody, what are the Straw Hats going to be like
No,
in
but
the
they
same
didn't.
circle as them?
In the Gorosei room is just one circle.
Or like when they spawned in though, like when they spawned in,
but
they all
if
had their own circle.
If their teleportation thing is one circle, then the idea that I'm getting is that they just come out with separate circles.
Well, I know what you mean, but like
Yeah.
we don't know if they can teleport other people though. It's kind of what I'm getting at.
All right, but then the ramifications that Van Augur gets so strong
Because we're already putting them all in their little category, calling them demons, right? So like, what if they can only teleport other demons, right?
Can they not teleport insects though? If they can't teleport insects, they're worse than me and you. We were doing that as kids. We were just dropping ants in random places.
Yeah, but I walked, you know, like it's not the same as teleporting. So yeah, I feel like there will be some stipulations to their teleportation abilities.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to believe that they can all teleport like anybody they want, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. But
I'd like
I
a
feel like
cooldown. I'd like a cooldown,
Yeah.
but I would like that to be explained. But we don't know. It's not like hockey. We don't know what the magic stuff is like leaning on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that's the main issue, and we've talked about that at length, which is just that the one thing that I wish we got through this fight was more understanding of like, yeah, we got the regeneration thing nailed into our brains. Like, I get it. You hit them, they regenerate. It takes time, sure. We can't, nobody knows what's happening, fine. I want to know about the magic stuff because that was the introduction. That was the first thing. And not a single time throughout it have we got more about that other than the telepathy thing, which is, that's cool. But is that observation hockey or is that like magic? Like, we don't know. And I wish that throughout this fight we got more of that. And I'm fine with Oda showing us like glimpses of like random powers that are aided by magic, but we also didn't get that either. We just saw the giant Jupiter like suck things up. We saw Workery ram things. We saw Venus slash things. Like, we didn't see anything like magical besides the teleportation, which, you know, we just don't have context on how that power is rooted in the One Piece world, which I guess we'll get with Emu.
So we got prime reaction piece here, and we kind of saved this for the end of the video. Well, quote, end of the video. We got a lot of people, man. We got a lot of people in this one chapter. And I'd say important people, too. So we start off, and it coincides with the first part of Vegapunk's message where he talks about the ancient weapons. We see Shirahoshi, Vivi, and we see Conus, Iris, and who I believe to be Wiper in the background, in what seems to be Skypiea. And I say seems to be because the architecture is very different from what we've seen before. Yeah. And I want to see, like, what is Oda doing here, right? Because we know that Shirahoshi is tied to Poseidon. We know that Vivi has these strange ties to Pluton because Alabasta had the poneglyph. But as far as Skypiea goes, like, what do you think the message is here?
I have not that I have no clue, but like, it was just, I was like, why didn't you just show Skypiea the way like we remembered it? But they're like advancing at the speed of light. They're almost faster than Vegapunk advancing.
This might not even be Skypiea. Like, if you look at the first panel where it says still in use, like, Oda silhouettes the Sky Island.
That's what I'm so glad, because I felt alone, but like, because I didn't recognize Skypiea, because when I was looking at it, the only thing I could really tell was Canis, because like the two things. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's not Skypiea though, right, guys? Like, and then Oda didn't put the thing, and then I was like, okay, so let me look at the panel on the right, and I was like, all right, you guys can't blame me for this because that's not Skypiea. That's not anything. That's just like a cloud with like the blur. Like, Oda didn't even try to make it look like Skypiea. It's not even close. And
that could even be Uranus, right? Like, because that was the same thing we saw with Leloucia. Like when we saw Leloucia, there was just like a blurp in the sky. Like, that's exactly what that is. And you can't tell me that Oda's not, like, he's afraid of drawing Skypiea, because we literally see okay, we don't. I was about to say, like, it's because I looked up an image of Hardis's like land, but like, he has his little sky island. Like, we've seen that in shots before. We've seen Skypiea in shots before. Like, Oda didn't draw it here. He just silhouetted it. So it's like, that's kind of interesting.
It looks like someone took the side of a pencil and just like went to town on that. Yeah,
he just whipped it down
and then shrunk it down. So as far as like what I came to, I'm sitting on this idea, but I think I like this idea more. It came to conclusion yesterday on stream was that like, it's not the people that are important. Shirahoshi's the one that like, it would make you assume like, oh, ancient weapons. Shirahoshi's an ancient weapon. Then we see Vivi, and then so naturally we've had theories about Vivi being important. Nefertari is important. Lily is important. The Celestial Dragon side of things, you know, all that. Pluton, blah blah blah. Or Uranus, sorry. And then we get Skypiea, and you come to the conclusion, okay, Isa. She was the one that was kind of marked as the important character. She had like the voice of all things, like naturally, to the point that it kind of rivaled Anel a little bit, in the sense of like, she could like tell when people were dying or where they were on the island, or I think she even could tell like they're like the crying, like if they were crying or if they were like having a conversation or something. Like, not like Anel could hear the conversation, I think, and tell if they were like against him, whereas she could like hear if someone was like their voice or something like that. So like, that's crazy that she had that ability. That goes to like when Vivi at the end of the Alabasta arc, this is like the thing that everyone latches onto, when she like told everyone to stop, she like summoned the rain. And like, now that we get like the further into the story, we're seeing how important the Nefertari family is. You know, yeah, a lot of people go on the princess thing too, like the princesses being important for the ancient weapons. I don't know. But so my take is more so maybe it's not the people and maybe it's the locations because what we found out is that Alabasta had the Pluton poneglyph. You go to Alabasta, that's where you learn about Pluton being on Wano. And then if you went to Skypiea, that's when you learned about Poseidon. It's on Skypiea. So maybe the missing poneglyph had information about Uranus that we don't know about that's on Fishman Island. Or maybe Fishman Island has some kind of connection to Uranus. Maybe the locations are important rather than the places, which is why in the Skypiea thing, there's not a person per se highlighted. There's obviously Conus is visible, Isa is recognizable, Wiper is visible, but realistically, the thing that gets shotted out, and I think is more in my face, is Skypiea. And the part where it's like Skypiea is really, it not only is it not recognizable, it's also like very weirdly silhouetted, like you said. Like, why is the location there important, right?
Yeah.
And Vivi's not in Alabasta, but obviously she represents it. So that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe it's the locations of it, right? Like technically she's the queen of Alabasta, or princess now queen, not indoctrinated or
I would
what's the
like
word?
that more if in Vivi's background there was like sand, you know? Because for sure
Uh,
Oshi you got the water, you know, for Konus you got Skypiea. For
got
Vivi,
clouds.
I think there needs to be like sand back there if we want to go with that. If not Skypiea, where else do you think they're at? If you had to guess. Like do you think this is I don't know, like the thing is that I guess we don't have to limit them to Skypiea cuz they could just easily travel to another sky island and say hello. Like, we know they exist. We know the Birkins came from, a different sky island, too. That's how Enel got here. He had a flying ship. Like, so it's definitely possible. Like, their technology is just so different from ours. So they probably have, like we go, like, from island to island. This is probably just the next one for them.
Yeah, it could be. They did say that there were other islands and that the knockup stream was the harder way to get up there. And they
Yeah.
did, I think they said plural, like Sky Islands. So it's like,
Yeah.
and apparently Yoruge's place of according to the One Piece wiki, his residence is the balloon terminal, which we found out yesterday on stream, which is like, I don't know where they got that from. We saw him one time there, but I guess he lives there, according to the One Piece wiki. Which, if you guys know, me and Sai we throw a bone to them every once in a while. The whole Roshio thing, I'm sure they figured it out the day the chapter came out. Yeah, sure. But the point is, I have an idea. I think that like it being Skypiea isn't that crazy. Like we saw, we looked it up yesterday. I didn't like double check, but like they made like an amusement park for Usopp. Like they got the means to do whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They got the manpower. They're hella strong up there. They got figured out. They're also master like stone quarry people that were like turning clouds into buildings into benches. So they could do anything. The only thing that I'm just confused about is like where did the random Chinese Japanese like architecture style come from? Like that's like the rooftops, right? Like who infused that? You know what I mean? It seems like a new, not like I'm not saying like a One Piece warlord, but it seems like a new tyrant came to
Ooh,
town.
how about this? Sky Samurai.
Oh,
We do know that there's like 50 families that left Wano many, many, many years ago. I think like 50 years ago or something silly.
not 50 families, 20 people.
Oh, 20.
Right?
Yeah, 20 people, right? Was it 20 people or 20 families?
I don't think it's families. I think it's 20 people.
Yeah,
No.
but either way,
Families is
people,
crazy.
a lot of people left Wano, though. Yeah, a good handful of people. That's how we ended up with Shimotsuki Village.
Yeah.
And we'll notice that there's not any other Wano families there, minus the Shimotsuki. So maybe this is just one of those families. They went up to a sky island.
It's also
And they brought the Wano architecture with them.
It's also more likely that they left by sky, right? Because we saw how pitiful Wano was at making ships.
Oh, yeah.
And Wano's hella high. Imagine if one of the sky islands just kind of floated next to them and they're like, it's now or never, boys, let's go. And then they just, or not even that, maybe they just climbed to the top of Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is hella tall, right? And then they went to a sky island. Who knows? We don't know.
It could be a thing.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. If Mount Fuji had lore like that, like that's one of the ways to get the sky islands is just that, like,
I mean, we
go
do
to
know
Mount
that like
Fuji.
volcanoes produce like the pyroballoin that makes Sky Islands in the first place. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's that crazy that like that's how they actually left.
Yeah, and then that's also why, low key, not mad, but like when the volcano exploded on Wano, I was like, Wano has it all. How are they not making a Sky Island off of this, right? I mean, there was the theories that like, oh, Big Mom and Kaido got blown out of the volcano, and some people are like, oh, maybe they're just floating on a Sky Island, which like, sure, whatever. But the point is, Oda did not give that volcano any meaningful value, because we talked about it too, where it's like if it was like a like a realistic volcano, all of Wano would have died from like the volcanic like
Yeah, the
toxin.
ashes.
The ashes would have killed everybody because it was so close. It was like literally on their land. So yeah, this is kind of funny, but yeah, I don't think, not that I don't think that this Skypiea is showing is that deep, but more so like I don't know if it's relevant to like the ancient. I think, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Maybe it is important. Maybe it is important. Maybe we find out like they figured out how to move Sky Islands, like motorize them. I don't know, turn them into ships. Like, I don't know. I don't really know.
50 people left left Wano.
It was 50? I thought it was 20.
Yeah, and that was they left to escape Orochi's rule. No, that doesn't sound right. Okay, so SBS 105, 25 people left Wano, and 10 people settled at Shimotsuki village. So there's 15 other people that are just out there in the world.
Yeah.
Don't know the
Makes
names
sense
or
by
anything, just they're just gone.
Yeah. We were both right. There's a 2 and a 5, and 15 sounds like 50. Pretty close.
There it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think it'd be too crazy if one of them ended up on a Sky Island. I mean, the world of One Piece is wacky. Like, eventually somebody's got to go up there, right?
Yeah.
So,
oh, and we just found out in the latest SBS, Fujitori's sword is made by a Fugetsu clan.
Yep. Somebody
Where's
from
that
Wano.
guy from? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
One
like,
of the East Blue guys.
yeah,
I don't know what to call
one
them.
of
The East
it's
Blue
probably
escapees.
one of the 15 people that left, right?
Yeah. Easily. And then that could even explain, like, I guess it doesn't have to explain, but maybe Tashigi pops in there somewhere.
Yeah, she's a weird cousin.
Yeah,
cousin.
like a weird cousin of Kuina.
Yeah.
That's why they look so similar.
Yeah, yeah.
Could happen, man.
Yeah, I still like our theory that our emphasis on our theory that Tashigi is Venus disciple. That's why she's trying to collect all the swords.
Yeah, it's your theory. I don't want any dealings in that. Barra's a theory that the reason why Tashigi wants all the swords is to give them to Venus as like a tribute.
We came up with it together on stream yesterday.
Yeah, but I was joking. You were going all in. I think you were getting it tattooed. You were making like a full 15-minute video.
You said no one said that. Your ass was like,
you said you had like a 50-page documentary on it. I was like, damn, dude, Par's going in. I'm good, Par. You can have this one.
Who was sold on Saint D Claus, and I'm like, how does that's just adding a D to random.
Hey, Saint D Claus can still be a thing, because we were talking about Santa Claus, and we brought up the idea that maybe Santa Claus. I mean, people here have no idea what happened on this stream, so I gotta explain it. Here's the thing: Santa Claus is such a prominent figure in Western culture, even in Japan. Dude, the Japanese love Santa Claus. Go to Japan for October 31st. Go there during October, see Halloween. I promise you, I was there. The next day, November 1st, Christmas out the wazoo. They got Colonel Sanders dressed up in Santa Claus clothes. People in shops dressed up as Santa Claus. Employees dressed up as elves. Oh my God, like, are they elves? Santa's elves? Yeah, Santa's elves. Like, dude, Christmas trees everywhere. Japan loves Christmas. And let me tell you, Buggy and Shanks, they were debating about the North and South Pole. Which one's colder? And guess who lives up there? Our jolly old friend, Saint D. Nicholas. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, dude. I'm full sending that one. That's going to be my...
I'm with the idea
that's going to be my thing right there.
Santa Claus is going to be one of the Holy Knights or a Celestial Dragon, because Santa Claus literally has slaves. Like, slave labor is his. That's the Santa's workshop.
You like this.
I like this, but you were on the opposite side. You said
What do you
Saint
mean?
D Claus. You said D Claus. You added a D. He doesn't have
No. But
name.
you gotta remember, I called him the Fallen D, the D that became a Celestial.
You just added that.
I
right
called
now.
him the Fallen D, and then I brought up Santa
Absolutely.
Claus and how that's a demon. You know, okay, guys,
I'm
another
okay with
explanation
Santa
coming
Claus
in.
being a
Another
yokai.
explanation coming in. Santa Claus is also like demon names in like a lot of Santa Claus horror movies, and it's even a Yu-Gi-Oh card where it's like a demon. It's like, you know, this frosty monster. Hey, it can happen.
I'm with it, but you start out with a D Claus. You added
Yeah,
a
and
D.
I'm still going with D Claus. D Claus can happen.
That's wrong.
The fallen D clan member.
He's a holy knight.
Hey, how about this? How about it's a D, but it's inversed? Yeah.
And the B clan.
No, dude, like people, you know, for a long time, people were like, "Hey, the D is actually, you know, if you flip it the other way, it's just like, you know, it's the dawn because it looks like the sun rising over the ocean." But like, what if he's the inverse? He's the dark side of the sun.
Because you know what? Santa Claus is a yokai type of thing that would get stronger at night.
Yeah, exactly. He delivers presents.
Travels the world.
Oh my God.
Mythical Zoan. No, he's not gonna be. He's gonna be a holy knight for sure. Like I'm with it. We started off
it's there
on stream. We talked about the mythical. He's like probably a mythical Zoan human. But then Santa Claus being a holy knight. Listen, guys, on stream we come up with some of the best series. They rival some of the ones on the Parcast one. They're almost more raw sometimes. But this one, I think me and Sai, we both raw dogged it from both sides. Yeah, cooked.
And
absolutely.
Here's the thing. Oda doesn't have to go the Santa Claus route. He could just give him the name, like Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas, something like that. And then his transformation could be a Yeti or like a Sasquatch or, you know, like abominable snow monster. Yeah, or to give him white hair and like a big belly. Like it can be that simple too. Yeah. It doesn't have to be like, oh, like, you know, Santa Claus is now canon. It doesn't have to be like that. It could just be like any ice-related powers, and then it's like a nice nod to Santa Claus.
And it could be Chopper's opponent. That could be who Chopper fights.
Yeah,
because
it's
Chopper,
so game.
Santa enslaved reindeers too. So like,
and there's like Rudolph the red nose reindeer. Chopper's the blue nose one. He beats Santa up. There we go.
And
it's so good.
Oda made Chopper Santa silhouette in Drum Island with Kureha. They were literally Santa Claus in the sky. Like that's an actual thing in One Piece.
Yeah,
so,
and see, guys, this is the theory that I cooked up by myself, and the theory that Par cooked up is that Tashigi is Venus's disciple.
You are foolish, so foolish.
Do you guys see? Do you guys see what happens?
You were waiting for me to stop talking so you could say that shit. Oh my god!
I was. Yeah, I remember. I forgot what it is. You at one point during this conversation, you were like, "Yeah, this is the theory that we Raw Dog we came up together." And then in my head, I was like, "How do I spin this to make Par look insane?" I saw it. You're right when you said that we got along. I said, "How do I make it seem like we don't get along?" It's like Zoro and Sanji working together for like 1 minute, and then the next minute they're bickering. That's us. I was like, how do I spin it and make Par look bad?
I was trying to stick my teeth into the theory as hard as I can so that when you came in and said your bullshit,
nah, dude, like... I heard like a whisper in my ear saying, "Bring up Tashigi." Like, just bring her up again.
No, that was so funny because on stream we were like talking about the Santa Claus thing, and then random, I forget where it came from, but at the end I was just like, "And Tashigi's swords," and I was like, "All right, I lost the plot. Never mind." Like,
yeah, it's the Tashigi theory is cooked. But yeah. So back to reality though, like the Holy Night thing is, I think that's very plausible. Like when you think about like all the powers left, and if Oda is going the route of like mythical monsters, we're gonna need some more of them, And we saw that Oda isn't afraid of tackling things outside of Japanese culture too, because we have like 4 yokai and we have a sandworm, dude.
Yeah.
And I like
the
Western culture's
idea,
there. And it's in Japan.
I like the idea that the Holy Knights would be like not necessarily like they don't have to be all the same bag, but like some of them being like good yokai that Oda switches up. Like, you know, like some of the most famous ones. Like Santa Claus technically would fit that. And I think he did make like wasn't Kureha's like things like she's the like scary witch or whatever. And
Yeah.
so like when people saw this, like it wasn't really like a good thing. They were like, oh my god, it's her again. You know, like oh shit, she's
Yeah.
back. You know, like he already kind of did that. So like I don't and as far as like if Oda wants to go the route of like Gear 5 being belief and hope based, I love the idea that the yokai are running off of fear and like terror based. And so if that's the case, then knowledge and perpetuation of these ideas and the fear, the stories and all that, that's important. And Santa Claus being like in our world, it makes sense. Oda could just insert that in the One Piece world. Like, there's so many. The One Piece world is so big, and then like Akuma's running with the Bible. We still don't know who's in that Bible,
Yeah.
but like Oda could just put the story of Santa Claus in there. I mean, it's not in the actual Bible, right? But like, it's a Christian, tradition, so
And
it is what it
then
is.
there's also the whole thing with vampires too, because I believe there's going to be a vampire in the Holy Knights, and then boom, like in Bonnie's flashback, the kids called her a vampire. So if we're going off that fear and belief, like just alongside Santa Claus being a thing, or quote Santa Claus, vampires are a thing in One Piece. So, and plus there's also Stussy, and she's still a mystery. Like people just kind of assume that she has a vampire devil fruit. But it's like, no, dude, like Oda didn't even give us like, like for the Gorosei, we have Gyuki, Bakotsu, and it's weird that they don't have devil fruit names. Stussy literally doesn't have anything. There was no mention of what she actually is. And I'm not saying Stussy's like the vampire, but I think if there's a vampire Holy Knight, for example, I think there's a good chance that they turned her into a vampire because that's the thing that they can do. So,
and is also, I don't know if we mentioned it on stream or like we talked about it, but the Clyome thing, we talk about how the one story, like that sword is from this, like famously from the story called The One Story, but the one story is a shorthand for the one story about a woman or something like that. That's the full title. And that story is about a werewolf.
Yeah. I'm going to bring that up in my next, so I'm making like a part 2 to my like werewolf and vampire theory, because I found another thing that's pretty cool too, that ties into werewolves. That's actually in One Piece. So it's like, I think werewolves, vampires, Santa Claus, a lot of pretty much any popular thing that Oda likes, he can just throw in here. It's Oda's playbook with the Holy Knights, and if we're going with these mythical transformations that don't exist in the world, done, easy.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We knocked out the ancient weapon portion. Now we have the racist portion of the chapter with the special races that are being eliminated from the world, constantly persecuted and slaughtered. We have Kuma, we got King, and Pudding. Love to see him. It's kind of funny. I feel like he could have shown more people. Like he could have shown like tribes or lesser races,
Yamato.
like Tontadas even. Yamato even, one of the last Oni. But
whatever the hell
like,
Crocus is.
Yeah.
Crocus just grows plants out of his head.
We don't know what he is, but he's got plants, man. Even Nolan. I would consider Nolan and Cricket like another lost tribe, like the chestnut tribe or something.
Yeah. The Kinokobito, famously.
Yeah, mushroom people.
The mushroom people.
Yeah, like there's a lot of races here, but it looks like Oda just wanted to hone in on the ones who are right now being not subjugated. That's the wrong word, but the ones right now being oppressed, right? Kuma, obviously not even here, not even really fully conscious. We get like little memories from him, so it does make me question like if he's even there. Like it seems like he is, but he's not at the same time. There's King, who's I want your opinion on King. Well, I'll get to him in a second. We have Pudding, who's still captured by Blackbeard. But as far as King goes, like he has more bandages than we last saw, right? Are these like Green Bull wounds? Like did they add that onto him?
I mean, this does confirm that he's not dead, which a lot of people kind of just said that. Yeah, people were saying that Green Bull killed them, and I was like, huh? No, that doesn't make sense.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because then I think this is around the time when we were saying like King in like the Seraphim, like like King would come back and then Seraphim would be like his little brothers or some bullshit. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean King's probably just an impel down, no? Like I mean that's also it'd be kind of perfect because like Pudding's in prison and then King's in prison and Oda put both of them in the same
and then Kuma's in a mental prison.
His is just a flashback.
If anything, in a mental prison. Dude, you know what would be so cool, or not cool, that's the wrong way to put it. Imagine if Kuma was just stuck reliving his same memories over and over, and he's stuck in like God Valley and like all of his worst moments.
I mean, he could also be in his good moments with Bonnie. Like, there are good
That
times.
could be a thing.
Yeah, but like I'm with you on that because like Marco is in a mental prison. My guy is just like he's
Constantly thinking about Whitebeard.
His tag, like Oda could just show us Whitebeard, but he had to. I was so confused when I scrolled. I was like, "Oh, Whitebeard!" I was like, "Wait, who is that?" And then I saw Marco. I don't know. I wasn't expecting Marco, and I was just like, "Is this a weird Vegapunk? Like, it's like a baldish head with like hair on top." And now I'm just like, Marco's only gonna show up in the chapters just to give us the Whitebeard flashback.
No one else can give us a Whitebeard flashback except for Marco. Come on, Par, you know this.
That's his only.
He's the only guy who's ever seen Whitebeard. Nobody else knows who this guy is.
Who only like because the other part of it is that this is Whitebeard belligerently drunk because apparently that's when Whitebeard would spill the beans about like the Void Century and stuff. And wasn't that Marco saying to Izo, do you remember when Whitebeard was, or Pops was belligerently drunk and just said all that stuff? Maybe he wasn't crazy. I thought he was schizophrenic. And then turns out, no, there was a land of gods, kingdom of gods up there.
Yeah, they lived up there, man. What's notable about Marco? Oh, wait, go for it.
What if the ancient kingdom's name is just the kingdom of gods? Would you be upset?
Not like upset, but I'd be like, okay.
It's like the Marco note thing, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna leave a note, and then we just find out I'll be there.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it would hit me the same way as like Kuzan being the 10th Titanic commander. It's not like upsetting, but it's just like there's potential there, you know? Because like for the ancient kingdom, like it's the kingdom of gods. It's like oh, it's not like a name. I mean, well, you know, like it is, but it isn't.
I would separate with the Kuzan a little bit because like Kuzan being the 10th isn't a bad thing. You know, it's like that's what I'm saying.
It's like not bad, but it's not impressive.
No,
right?
Kingdom of Gods would it's not like because like we expected Kuzan because he like basically kind of said that back in Dressrosa. Then in between then he kind of threw in like wrenches here, and then the road to Lapton was like, who's that 10th Titanic commander? And then we were like, oh, I wonder. And then it just ended up being Kuzan, but Kuzan's like one of the sickest characters of all time, right? Versus Kingdom of Gods is not one of the sickest names of all time. You know what I mean? It's just
Kingdom
like
of Gods. No, it's like a generic like Japanese RPG name. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's not like the sickest of all time. You just said the generic.
Bad.
You said,
but it still has that weight to it, though. Kingdom of Gods.
Generic.
Okay, Par, would you rather be from the Kingdom of Gods or Oklahoma?
Okay, but Oklahoma isn't good. Like,
but it's better than it's worse than the Kingdom of Gods.
Okay, Kingdom of Gods are like. Oh man.
Would you rather be from the Kingdom of Gods or I'll use a One Piece one.
Let's do Pangea.
Why Pangea?
Right? Isn't that's like a big theory, right? That it used to be Pangea. Well, now it's kind of
okay. Well, we got to go with something that's canon. You know, like Kingdom of Gods versus Wano. Which one would you rather be from? Kingdom of Gods or Whole Cake Island? Kingdom of Gods or Jaya? Right? It's like I'd rather be a guy from the Kingdom of Gods. Is that simple? Like it's not bad, but it's not good. Like I agree. It's in the middle ground. I think you're putting it down too low.
You're right. Okay. When you said Whole Cake Island, I folded immediately. I would much rather be Kingdom of Gods than Fishman Island.
Yeah, Fishman Island, Whole Cake. Yeah, look, I mean, Oda's been pretty on the nose with the like Fishman Island. Oh, who lives there? I wonder.
Technically, Fishman Island is Ryugu Kingdom, Imperial Dragon Kingdom. That one's cool. Come on.
Which, if it's the Imperial Dragon Kingdom, Kingdom of Gods is actually, you know, it's in theme. It's in theme. I hate that we're making this make sense a little bit, but I mean, that's just how it is.
Like Whitebeard, because like,
but imagine Clover died because of that though. Like.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Like they shoot him. It's like he was about to say Kingdom of Gods. That's the ancient kingdom name. Like, oh god.
I was just thinking about it because Whitebeard got this information from who? He probably got it from Roger when he was talking about the Will of D. right? So did Roger redact the kingdom's name? Because then it should be that Whitebeard knows the kingdom's name, and then it might be that Marco
Oh, wait a
actually
minute, wait a
knows
minute, wait a minute. Wait, we're not. Are we getting it twisted? Because Whitebeard's talking about the Lunarians, right?
Well, we don't know. Marco didn't know. He didn't know. This is out of context.
Yeah, this
So,
is
like,
out of context, but Whitebeard is talking about the Lunarians, right?
Marco's the one who said like that. I think was it Queen who was saying like
Because I
something
mean,
about gods?
we're not talking about the ancient kingdom. The ancient kingdom is like where probably like the D's are from. Like
Yeah,
Whitebeard
yeah.
was in reference to like King and the Lunarians who lived atop the Red Line. So those two should have different names. But so maybe this is the
Yeah.
kingdom of gods, and then the ancient kingdom is something else.
I mean, they could be the same. It could be. We don't know. That's the thing.
Or it
like,
could be, yeah, it could be the same, but
like that's the. I mean, but that's the thing where it's like, imagine. Okay, so let's say the Lunarians are kingdom of gods, right? And
Yeah.
then there's some dinky ass ancient king. There, any name would be lamer, right? It has to be cooler than kingdom of gods.
ooh, I got a good one.
Oh, hit me with it.
What about Wano? What about we just name the... Just kidding. No, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm fine with any name. I'm not like picky, but
Yeah.
as long it's just gotta like it's gotta flow well.
No, it's not even that. It's gotta make Clover's death make sense.
Yeah,
It can't
it's
be-
gotta be an epic name at the bare minimum.
Like, could like if it's some loser ass name too, right? Because then the Gorosei are afraid of what? You know, it's scarier that they're afraid of a bad name, you know? Because if it's a bad name, they can meme on it, you know? Like like Nolan, how they like not they, but the world painted out to be a liar. They could be like, oh, this loser ass kingdom. They could have made stories about how lame they were. They could have made the Sora story. They could have made more stories like that, saying like, you know, Germa is like this mythical, scary demon lord organization. They could have done that shit too with the thing. Maybe they did that. Maybe Germa is actually the name of the ancient kingdom. That'd be kind of crazy,
The
right?
Jerma Okuku. Maybe.
Yeah. That'd be wild.
Well, I mean, I don't think so, but I just want to throw the maybe in there because you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, like what's notable about the Marco panel though, outside of that, is the fact that Miss Bokkins is not present. She is a MIA. So I wonder if she's going after Weevil. Which I mean makes sense, right? She talked about wanting to go after him in the first place, and she's like, "Hey Marco, please, you gotta help me." And then Marco's just is chilling here like days later, listening to the message. So he did not go with her.
Yeah, all those theories
That's
about
crazy.
Marco going to impel down, kind of in the toilet right now.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see it. Like, he's got to protect the people of Sphinx Village. That's just how it is. Like, he owes Weevil, but does he owe him enough to go into Impel Down, right?
He can also fly there really fast, right? He's a bird.
Yeah, I mean, is he fast? I feel like that would drain a lot of stamina. I feel like I'd want to take some breaks here and there.
I mean, the whole point of like most of the birds that fly over the like ocean, they like preserve a lot of energy.
But you got to remember, like Marco,
do that.
He thanked Shanks for giving him a ride. He's like, oh, thank you, Shanks, for getting me close to the island. But as far as like Miss Bokkins go, like if she does go after Weevil, which I'm assuming she is since she's missing, I don't think she stands a chance. Not alone, at least, right? Not against Green Bull and the entire force of Impel Down. Like she'll need help. Like if Marco's not gonna give her help, somebody else has to.
What if she runs into like we don't know where like Boa's going, right? Have we seen Boa listening to this message?
Nope. No Boa listening to the message at all.
What if Bokkins rolls up to Amazon Lily, asks Gloriosa, her old homie, you know what I mean, from Rocks.
Ooh, I don't think Gloriosa would give her any assistance, but it'd be a nice interaction.
Amazon Lily's right next to Impel Down, so like maybe.
But would the Amazon people want to fight again though? Like they're finally like licking their wounds. They're finally not fighting Marines 24/7.
Oh, what if Bokkins was the other Empress and she fell in love with Whitebeard? Wasn't that? Oh no, she died. The other Empress.
Yeah, the other
died,
Empress died, and we have their name too.
Oh yeah, we have the. Don't we have the image? Did Oda make an image? Yeah,
Oda made an image.
Yeah, it's definitely not Bokkins. Oh,
Yeah,
but that would have been crazy though, because like she actually did fall in love. Damn. Oh, what if Bokkins? Well, Pockets could still be from Amazon Lily. She could be like the Marguerite, the blonde
Yeah.
chick that Luffy, met up with. And that girl, she likes Luffy a lot too. She might have to fight Boa, you know? Um,
I don't think she's
she
from.
actually,
I don't think she's from
grabbed her
Amazon
jump
Lily.
too. Yeah, she might not be, but
Because every Amazon Lily character, they follow the same naming scheme. And I don't think Miss Bokkins would.
Stussy Buckingham. Yeah, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Is
Because they're
Stussy-
all,
what
they're
is
all
Stussy?
snakes, right? They're either
Not
all
snakes,
snakes or all
flowers.
flowers. Yeah, flowers.
Yeah,
Flowers.
flowers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Stussy not a flower? Damn.
No.
Shot. What about Margaret? Is that a flower?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably is. Damn. What if she could have just changed her name?
She changed her entire name just so that she could be from Amazon Lily and fit the theory.
No, but I'm thinking like if she went to Amazon Lily, I feel like Gloriosa might. They're probably cool. They probably
You
why
think they
not?
try to save Weevil?
If Gloriosa explained it, maybe. I don't know. Nah, I don't know. There'd have to be some kind of Luffy connection for it to make sense.
Yeah. I feel like if there's a
yeah.
Luffy connection or Boa connection, they would, but
Yeah.
since there is, like, Luffy
Which
doesn't even
is-
know Weevil exists, dude.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. That's the weird thing about like some of these characters, like Weevil and Yarouge. Like, there's no tie to Luffy yet.
Yeah, like, dude,
Absolutely
like,
zero.
Luffy got to this island and said, "Bonnie, who are you?" Like, he didn't say, "Who are you?" but she was like, "Wait, I'm a member of your same, like, of the same generation." He was like, "Huh?"
Yeah,
What are you talking
yeah.
So like, yeah, it would be the
It's-
exact same thing for Rouge, the exact same thing for Weevil, even. Like,
Yeah,
he has
he's
not
probably-
met these guys.
Yeah, you know what would be funny though? Luffy could look at Weevil and be like, "Whitebeard, you're back."
Oh, that would be huge. No,
Yeah.
imagine Buggy does that too.
Nah, what Buggy literally fought like for years against
That's true.
Whitebeard.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
shot.
Buggy wouldn't do that, but Luffy would though. Luffy, he's not the smartest guy out there.
Yeah. Luffy would look at Weevil and think it's just one and the same. Like Weevil would be like, "I'm Whitebeard's son." He's like, "Oh, that makes sense," and he starts patting him on the back. You know, like they'd be best friends too, with how like childish Weevil is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Damn. What's happening with them? Yeah, but so King's probably just an Impel Down, right?
Yeah, somebody brought up a good point though, and it's been living in my head for a while. They said, why would they send a Lunarian to Impel Down if they're trying to hide his existence and stuff? And it's like, well, I guess they're not trying to hide his existence per se, since we have the Seraphim just walking around to different islands, you know, cleaning up a lot of messes. But
Yeah.
the thing with King is that they were offering a lot of money for any information about Lunarians. So what if instead they're transporting him to Marie Joie?
Oh shit.
Yeah, like
Yeah, you're
like
right.
what if imagine Saturn. Imagine he gets back home and then King is right there. He's like time to experiment. Like finally I've wanted to play with one of you guys.
What if King is in the box that Smoker's dragging?
He's in the box that Smoker is dragging.
Yeah, because maybe like there's like you said, like King is super valuable also to Vegapunk, you know what I mean? So maybe that was
Yeah.
like some of the mission that he had, like that to procure King from, you know, Impel Down. We can't let him fall in the clutches or whatever. Like maybe something like that. I don't know, but
Maybe.
yeah, you're right. Like Impel Down wouldn't necessarily make sense because he's so valuable.
Yeah, especially now that the world is sinking. If he's still being transported, I feel like they would divert him somewhere else. And if he does go to Marie Joie, we could get like some nice Holy Knight interactions. We could get the scientist up there, you know, experimenting on him. He could
it's
be
such a
like a
crazy-
replacement for Kuma, right? Another invincible slave, since he's a
Yeah.
Lunarian, he doesn't feel any damage. Which I mean,
He's
I know is
also-
awful, but I mean, you know, like that's just how the Celestial Dragons are.
Yeah,
That'd
it's
be a
also
nice
a
tie-in.
crazy nerf that he has a devil fruit because there would be no way they could lock him up if he didn't have a devil fruit.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe if Kaido's still alive, Kaido could like go after King. He's like, hey, like I heard the Holy Land as my friend. I'm
Yeah.
gonna save his ass. Like that'd be great. Kaido
Yeah,
storming
yeah.
Marie Joie for King. That'd be A1. I don't. That's like fan canon, but A1.
Damn.
Yeah.
Arbor.
Rest in peace,
Poor
King.
Arbor.
Hopefully we
Yeah.
see him soon.
Yeah, hopefully Arbor comes back into the story. He might
Yeah.
be like the Holy Knights target. Hey, if the Holy Knights had needed to get stronger, they could fight King over and over again.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Lock him in like the Phantom Room and just constantly fight him to get stronger.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
beat his ass.
That could be a
Yeah.
thing.
I could see that. Maybe that makes
Even
King stronger too. King
yeah.
ends up beating all of them by the
Oh
end
my
of it, and
gosh.
then
I would hope not. Imagine the final villains are only king level. Oh, finally the Holy Knight Zoro's like finally an opponent, and then they're like all weaker than King. It's like, oh, okay.
or worse, like the dragon goes like, oh, finally our fight is here. We got to fight the Holy Knights, and then like the door opens to the Phantom Room. King steps out. Those guys, and he like spits out a bone or something, and he's just like,
They're
they
getting
were,
the Bleach Zero Squad treatment.
yeah, hit him. Oh, is that what happened to them? I didn't watch that far.
Yes, I mean I'm not even gonna say spoiler. It's been out for like 10 plus years, but yeah, the Zero Squad essentially gets introduced as like the penultimate Soul Reapers, and then they just all die like
Get
the next
blocked.
chapter.
They
They're
got
like, these
done
guys
dirty
are
like
super
that.
powerful, and then they all get like one shot. It's like, oh, okay.
Damn, that's so sad because
Yeah,
they
it's
were
pretty
all
sad.
high and mighty. Like, haha, you loser squads lost to all these fodder, and then they take up Ichigo, and then wow, they just all die. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's kind of nuts. I think the anime is gonna do them differently. The anime has been doing them differently, actually. So
Ooh.
I feel like we might get more from them when Core
Uh-huh.
3 of Bleach comes out. But based on the
Oh, it's
manga,
not out
they
yet.
they did not look great. But that
Gotcha.
was when Kubo said he was being rushed to end the story. So
Sad.
time's working against them.
Yeah.
And let's see here. So King bandaged up, Pudding. I like how we didn't even say anything about Pudding. She's just there. Yeah, same
Yeah.
spot, same spot,
Yeah,
same
I'm-
expression.
Another interesting thing, if you want to take some note,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because like they didn't show all of the races, which is like interesting because like you would think Yamato's in here in this lineup.
yeah.
You'd think that like Blackbeard could be, if whatever that like special thing that Saturn and Devon were talking about. But that aside, like I guess the Yamato thing kind of changes it. But these are all Yonko like people, like Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard. Like it's kind of just a lineup of they each had a piece of the this kind of history that Vegapunk's talking about. So that's interesting too.
If only Kuma belonged to a Yonko too, then that would be like that would fill it out perfectly.
Oh yeah, true. I was only looking at the three. Kuma. Hey, maybe he was. He had all the titles. Who knows? I guess Dragon's a sleeper Yonko. No, like if
I can't
Dragon
put Dragon in
cared
his
to
own
be a pirate.
category.
Yeah, but and what I mean is like if Dragon cared to be, if Dragon declared himself a pirate, I think
Yeah.
he would be Yonko. Like he literally has the territory. He literally took over kingdoms. Like he has the
He
power.
takes over kingdoms and then he like lets them go back to hell the next day. Tequila Wolf is a prime example. Sorbet
Yeah,
Kingdom could be another one.
Okay.
If Kuma wasn't
we
there.
don't bring up Tequila Wolf. We don't know what happened there. Maybe you know what? A bridge has two sides. We don't know if he liberated one side. Maybe the other side is where we saw last time.
I've seen that cope before.
Wait, really? Oh no.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people cope like that before, and you know, like I realize that it's one of those things that you don't want to fight. You don't want to fight that battle. That's like it's
I was just
harmless, you know.
meaning
Like
side.
that's how I see a lot of things nowadays. Like when people come at me with the crazy One Piece theory or like an insane take, I'm like, you know what, dude, go for it, but go for it, man. It's all
Hey,
good.
but you like the Santa Claus theory. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not full of hot air.
And I also like I like the Tashigi idea.
No, stop.
I like the Tashigi idea. That's all it is. I mean, I feel like I've become. I might seem hard headed and stubborn sometimes, guys, but deep down,
Emphasis on hard.
deep down, I've become more accepting as time goes on. It's just smile and wave. But yeah, like for Dragon, I wouldn't mind him being a Yonko. I guess it just kind of brings up the question of who would he take the title from. I don't think he'd be taking the title from Big Mom, considering she has a lot of territories under her belt. She has a whole island. She has a lot of little colonies. She had her flag at Fishman Island. Kaido, I don't think he'd be taking it from him either. Who's the other Yonko? Whitebeard?
I think
No.
that he's just not a Yonko because the whole point of the Yonko, from the world government standpoint, is that they provided stability
Yeah.
as well, right? So, but Dragon doesn't care about that. Dragon trying to destabilize the world, right? Because the Kaido and the Big Mom and them, they're not taking over kingdoms, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
If they were doing that, they would declare war on the Yonko because the Yonko are declaring war on the king, like taking over kingdoms, right? But the reason why
yeah.
is because like like you said, he's in a different boat. But I'm saying like as far as like the notoriety of what a Yonko entails, he has it. He
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
only thing,
yeah, undisputably.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
no,
So
I
like
agree with you then.
like technically Kuma being under him is kind of it would fit that kind of a little bit. Um, but it is interesting because then Blackbeard and Shanks. Does Shanks have something like that? I guess Shanks is that, right? I guess Shanks could be related to that, probably on his own, maybe. Because if it's Figarland, it's probably I don't know, maybe not. I don't know.
No,
It's
I think it's
interesting.
just like a little thing,
Hmm.
but it's
Hmm.
just a fun mindset though.
Be interesting
So
to see.
yeah. So the next group and pairing we get are the scientists and inventors of the world. We got
Mm,
Iceberg, Judge, Caesar, and Hardas, which it's a fun lineup. Most
my
notably
favorite.
we got Caesar and Judge, right? They're over here arguing, bickering over Vegapunk's death. I'm assuming they're debating on what to do next. And that makes sense because like last we saw Caesar was crying, Judge was kind of just chilling. So it makes sense as to why they're fighting, especially when Vegapunk is kind of what brought them together in the first place. And, we talked about this last week, but what could these guys do next, right? Like, are they going to go after the ancient weapons, the poneglyphs, or are they just going to try to carry on Vegapunk's legacy, whatever that means?
Well, according to the last page,
Yeah.
they're not. It all depends on who finds the One Piece. Oda didn't put one of these inventors there, but maybe they fall under one of them. Buggy could be
Yeah,
a good.
Buggy's a good one.
Yeah, so like maybe that's kind of like hardest would be with Luffy and stuff like that. Maybe Iceberg is with Luffy, right? So maybe that's their I don't know. They try to find I think that's what it is. It's like it's hard to see them be their own force forever. So like how I feel like they're gonna be under an umbrella. It's like the question is when and how and who. And I think Buggy makes the most sense for at least obviously Caesar and Judge because they're the wild cards. Iceberg and Hardest aren't like it's like if push comes to shove, who are they siding with? Nami and Luffy, right? Easy, boom.
Imagine they go
But
under the revs.
actually, hardest going under the revs wouldn't be that crazy. Iceberg, I could see it because like Iceberg played a crazy role that like
Yeah.
Frankie didn't understand, which is that he used the world government status and affiliation to protect his island while being so powerful that they couldn't do anything to him publicly or even privately without using Lucci and CP9 to infiltrate him for 5 years to then have him become a villain on his own. And so like that's like crazy. So like that's something like you like a Revs kind of operation right there, being lucrative like that. But Hardest is an interesting one because like yeah, he could be the Revs. How did Kuma or how did Nami go there? Kuma's been there. Kuma's a Rev, so like, hey, there's probably a connection, right? And then
Oh yeah.
also, I've always loved the idea that if Dragon has any kind of weather power, which we kind of already know, then him being somewhat knowledgeable of Weatheria would make a lot of sense. I don't see why it wouldn't, you know?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Hardest can easily join the revs. And when you think about the red line too, like it's like how are they gonna get up there, right? In the final war, the final battle? Maybe they just hop on
Why?
Hardest's Cloud Island.
Yeah, maybe they can make more. They have farms. They
Oh
have
yeah.
bubble farms too.
And like Hardest is great for this rising water scheme. Dude, I would upcharge the hell out of my balloons.
Which
Like,
is
hey,
what he was doing.
yeah, like I can make a little Sky Island for you. All you have to do is pay me your life and soul.
Yeah, if people don't remember the cover story where they showed it, Hardest was taking Nami around the like various kingdoms whenever they had weather problems and was like basically charging them for like, hey, we know how to solve your weather problems. Meanwhile, I'm like, you probably caused the weather, but let's be honest, like you came from the sky. And,
I don't
like,
want to be that guy, but I feel like I would. I'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna make it rain super heavily over here, and then I'll sell umbrellas."
yeah, and the thing is, Hardest is tied to Nami, bro. Like Nami's literally that character that's like money. You talking about a way to make a money? Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like Hardest
He
either learned a
probably
thing or
heard about
two.
the rising waters. He was rubbing his hands together like, "Yo, here we go."
Yo,
It's
he's
time.
stroking that beard right now. No, everyone else is
Yeah.
like somber, thinking, shocked, scared, excited. His ass is like, yo, this beard could get
Profits.
longer. They don't call me white beard for nothing, you know. But yeah, he's stroking it right now for sure, for sure.
Yeah, no, a lot of cool things are coming out of this, man. And with it too, like Hardis, I could easily see him, like, even if he doesn't do that, like maybe making Skylands isn't that easy. He could easily just pick people up. Because he has that little cloud device that could just go up and down from his Sky Island. So it's like, yo,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
could just be like
And
abducting people.
hardest could be how Vegapunk knows about how to make clouds. Like he probably learned from him too, you know, because that's something Shaka said was like, or we even saw in the flashback where he referenced a West Blue doctor on the 21 grams. It wouldn't be crazy if Vegapunk and Shaka, you know, if they knew Clover as an archaeologist and they knew all the studies. Like Shaka said that, like, I'm a scholar, care about all the fields of science. Here we go. And this is
Oh
being
yeah.
overlaid on the conversation about Vegapunk having faith in humanity and the wisdom of it. And on that panel is Hardest. So it could also have a Vegapunk connection too. So there's also that. And him having the faith in science. And most notably, when he says I have faith in science, Saturn isn't on that thing. He's getting pummeled into the ground actually right after.
Well, I think, maybe this is Vegapunk memeing on us. Like, maybe we don't have faith in science, and next chapter, Saturn's gonna destroy everything.
With?
Yeah.
With?
He's gonna start splitting atoms.
Oh my god. You're taking
What?
the
Oh, what about this? What if he lands in the water and then he's like, ah, yes, H2O. Like, all I have to do is separate the hydrogen, and then this will be evaporated. And he starts doing that, and the water just disperses all around him.
electrolysis from the god, that lightning god from JJK who did that one time and then didn't bring it up against. Oh my god, that
It could be that crazy. I mean, we don't know, man. Maybe Saturn is cooking with science right now. Like, you know how, like, we see the white of his eyes? What if the reason why isn't because he's in pain from this attack? What if he just rolled his eyes to the back of his head to look at his brain to calculate how
his
to
mind
like,
palace.
yeah, what to do next? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, his life isn't flashing before his eyes. His eyes are flashing before his life. Ooh,
There we go. We just have to have faith in science.
dude.
Beautiful.
Dude.
That was poetic.
No. Let's just. His eyes are moving so fast. He's taking in all the information, and we can't see the light.
Like
so
Doctor
his eyes are
Strange.
bouncing, calculating everything. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. You know
Yeah,
how, like,
yeah,
that
yeah.
girl from Doctor Strange is bald? Like the OG master?
Uh-huh.
He's got two of her in his eyes. We're looking at the ball of his eyes.
I
So-
was wondering, I thought you were gonna say he takes off his do-rag and then he's bald. And then
Oh
you
no,
said
no.
her
I don't want him to be bald.
His eyeballs are just her.
Yeah, it's the top of her head. So we go down a little bit. The next piece of reaction piece we get before we hit that final page is of the Yonkos minus Luffy. We see, well, okay, before we get to the Yonkos, we see Rayleigh and he's taking a nap. Next, we see a Yonko territory. We see Hachinosu, and all of the boys are ready. They want to go. They want to fight. They want to find the One Piece, whatever have you. And they're like, yo, is Commodore Teach back yet? I can't wait much longer. And it's like, wait, where is Blackbeard? You know, like, when you think about it, too. So this is what's so odd for me. Not like odd, but like, it's got me rubbing my hardest chin. Yeah. But Blackbeard was with Van Augur. Katarina Devon was not there, right? This happened while they were fighting Law at Winter's Island. That was in tandem with the beginning portions of Egghead Island. Van Augur left that battlefield, picked up Katarina Devon from wherever she's at. We don't know where she was. She was not in that Law Blackbeard fight. Van Augur left, picked her up, got on a ship, went to Egghead Island, and did all of this. And in the meanwhile, like, he could, with how crazy Van Augur's teleportation is off screen, you would imagine that if Blackbeard wanted to go back to Hachinosu, he would already be there. At least that's how I kind of see it right now. Could be wrong. I don't know. We don't know, like, the distance. You know, we don't know the nautical miles, but I feel like he should already be back. So the fact that he's not back means that he probably has a different goal. And that could be related to Caribou knowing about the ancient weapons. He could be on his way to Wano, Fishman Island, or hell, we don't know what he's doing with the Saturn thing. So maybe Counter Devon is disguised at Saturn. And I still don't know how that's going to play out, right? Like, we kind of joked about it earlier. Like, oh, maybe she turns into Blackbeard and then she turns into Saturn and it's like, hey, guys, Blackbeard's a really cool dude. And that was the original theory when we first saw this. But, you know, the more we think about it, the more it doesn't make sense considering these guys have telepathies, considering the fact that they can, you know, transform and there's Emu. Like, I'm not too sure where this pans out. Right now, I have Blackbeard. If I were to put chips somewhere, I'd put it on Blackbeard going after the ancient weapons. I think he's listening to Caribou. I think he wants them, especially... Dude, imagine you hear a message saying, hey, you need to go outside and check your mailbox because, let me tell you, one of these days, somebody's going to win $1,000. You know, I gave it to somebody in this apartment complex. You go outside, you check the mailbox. Blackbeard is hearing about the ancient weapons and how important they are and how they can change the shape of the world. And then you have a dude rolling up here who says he knows where two of them are. And that's before the message. So you know he's valid. Like, you know he's not just saying that, too. Like, he said this before the message popped up. So I feel like there's no reason not to believe Caribou, or at least check his claims. And I think that Wano is about to get a reckoning. You know, I think it's about time. I think they've been living it good for too long. Mm-hmm. We need to put these Wano people back in their place. Blackbeard needs to go there.
Do we see Blackbeard react to the message?
No. We have not seen Blackbeard's reaction. Not once. And but before somebody says it, the last page of this chapter, it isn't their reaction like presently. Well, Buggy it might be, but like for everybody else, like this is just a shot of them, right?
Yeah, because Shanks is not belligerently drunk. Like
they're like, hey, Shanks is, you know, drinking way too much. And then Shanks is like, I shouldn't drink. What are you talking about? And then Shanks in the final page is like posing up, right? So that's definitely not him right now.
Yeah, I think it's like chapter 94, 95, where we see a drunk Shanks, like actually with Mihawk. So like we've seen drunk Shanks. So but yeah, the Blackbeard, like I like the logic that you have, and like the one thing that I would do is maybe take a step before that, which is like Caribou giving that information from what I guess 1108, and if they got off the ship and they met to Whitebeard or Blackbeard, gave him the information and they're already on the way, it would fit the bill of them being like the most efficient pirate crew in the game, right? Because like that's their motto, that's their branding, being the most like successfully efficient crew ever, period. Like they don't waste energy. So like that would fit. And we've talked about the Wano Blackbeard thing. In the timeline, does it make sense for me? It does, but like the other route could be that like, because like there's a Garp, Kuzan is there on the island. Does Blackbeard want to get a Kuzan and go over a place? It could be. But then the other thing that I'm thinking about is, could Blackbeard's motif has been, let's go where the defenses are down. And yeah, Wano is prime for picking, sure. Shirahoshi, like the thing is with Pluton, he has to do some guessing. Like Caribou just knows that it's sleeping underneath, right? That's a lot different. Like unless he takes what's his face, Bizarro, right? Like that's like that's a project and a half. Like they don't even know the lore behind it. Caribou didn't read the poneglyph, so he doesn't know like the full scope of that. He just heard the conversation that Luffy and the crew were having after the fact. They're like, oh, Pluton's here. It's sleeping underneath. But they didn't hear the part of like, oh, the walls have to come down. Odin stuff. He didn't hear that stuff. Whereas with Fishman Island, he knows, okay, that Shirahoshi is the ancient weapon. Shirahoshi could be the one. But the other one I'm thinking is if Van Augur relays the information that like, yo, the 5 Gorosei are on Egghead. And like, I wonder if Blackbeard like looks at that and be like, wait, so Meridra has no Gorosei? Like maybe Meridra is like the defenses are down, the Navy's spread all over there. There's like, yeah, there's an Akainu, but like, is current Blackbeard? I know it's still crazy for people to think like, oh, Blackbeard can equalize an Akainu. I'm not saying that Akainu loses, but like if Blackbeard rolls up with a Kuzan and goes to Meridra while all the Navy's distracted at Egghead and the 5 Gorosei, that could be really interesting. Now, I'm not saying that that's the answer, but I'm saying that like if we go for what Blackbeard would get before even knowing Caribou, then maybe that's it. I don't know.
But the thing with the Gorosei is that the rest of them showed up after Devon showed up. So we don't know if they saw them for sure.
True.
Like maybe they turned around and were like, "Hey, what the hell is that? 5 more Gorosei or 4 more Gorosei?"
Yeah.
Like maybe that could be a thing, but I think right now they only know that Saturn's not there for sure.
Yeah, so if they got the Caribou information, they would have gotten the Gorosei information at the same time, pretty much. If Van Augur was the vehicle for that info, at least. Because we don't know when they left, but if, like you said, they left like immediately then, brought Caribou because they trusted him, which, Caribou is crazy. I think I have, like I hinted before, I have an entire theory about Caribou that's kind of crazy, but the point is that like, yeah, Blackbeard's location, I don't know what I'd put stocks in. It's split, but Fisherman Island, Wano probably are spooky places. Probably spooky places.
The thing with the okay, the more I look at, the more I think that Van Augur and Counter Devon don't know that the other Gorosei are here on Egghead, is because they don't show up till 3 chapters after we see Devon and Van Augur say they want to leave. Or on their way out.
Yeah.
So I don't think they know that the other Gorosei are here.
It'll be interesting to see because like I think you're right. Van Augur just jumping to a ship right after makes a lot of sense, right? Like just leave.
Yeah.
And then the bigger question is like, what did they? Because Van Augur's hesitant of Caribou, but like they could beat Caribou pretty easily. I don't think that they would be that worried that they would have to like do anything on Egghead. But like if they were to like, okay, test his allegiance on Egghead, maybe there's something that Caribou could have done that we're not aware of. I'm not sure. We still don't know who gave Luffy the food, right?
No, we still don't know.
No. Yeah. It's an interesting spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also happened after that also happened
was earlier.
Yeah, earlier, before Caribou met Van Augur.
Yeah. But that's why I'm like, because if that was Caribou, then that's very interesting, right? He gave Luffy food and then goes, "Master Blackbeard, teach. He is my master. I want to be his henchman." Blah blah. And it's like, I wonder. But
playing both sides.
Yeah.
What about Shanks? Just say that he's trying his best to like survive with whoever he can. Like before he knew that the Blackbeard was an option. He was like, well, like, I got to get on Luffy's good side still.
Yeah. Which, I'm curious, where do you think Shanks is?
Where do I think Shanks is? So, personally...
Because that was a question mark too, right?
Yeah,
he was supposed to set sail somewhere before Kid showed up. And then he got stopped by Kid, but does he change route?
I think
Dory
there's
and
3 options.
Okay.
I could see Shanks going for Uranus or like whatever Roger's egg was, because we don't know where that's at. We don't even know what that is. It's out there somewhere, so maybe he's going for that. He's like, hey, let's go for the One Piece. Goes to Elbaf, little pit stop, and then he goes over there. Don't know what that would do. Like that's a complete mystery right now. So I don't put too much stock into that. Outside of that, he could be going for the man marked by flames. Maybe that he knows that's like the hardest one to go for, so he's going for that off rip. Or maybe he's still going after Blackbeard, right? People are wondering why he would go after Blackbeard, but you got to remember, Shanks has been looking for Blackbeard for a long time, Yeah, is he at Hachinosu? Not yet. Is he at Wano? No, he's not there. Hey, Gorosei, let me tell you about a pirate. Like, I feel like Blackbeard would be a prime person to go after. And people are wondering why. So one pushback I saw was somebody say, oh, why would he go after Blackbeard now that he says, hey, we got to look for the One Piece? And it's like, well, like he said that in the same chapter he was looking for Blackbeard, though. Like, I feel like it's like the same goal almost, right? I feel like Shanks, he kind of just wants to deny certain people from getting the One Piece, and Blackbeard's definitely one of them.
Well, that fits what Vegapunk said, right? Like, Joy Boy had no ability to choose who gets the One Piece.
Yeah.
So that makes it really imperative to choose who gets the One Piece.
and gatekeep it. And gatekeep it from Teach specifically.
Yeah. And like that's the issue that Roger had. Like Roger wanted Ace to find the One Piece. Remember? Like he's when Rayleigh asked him like who's gonna do it next, he's like, oh, of course it's gonna be my son.
My
And then
son.
he's like, and then Rayleigh's like, you don't have a son. And he's like, ha ha ha, that's where you're wrong, Rayleigh. You haven't seen the future I have. And when I put my heads together, I get a son. But the point is that like Roger didn't have that choice because he was dying. And so like he just put it out to the world. The people who are the strongest, who are the most capable would end up getting it. But the people who are the strongest and most capable might not be the right people. And that's what Shanks is seeing. And so like, there's that whole question that Buggy proposed. It's like, why didn't Shanks want it then? Why now? Right. And the whole point is that like, oh, it's because either Shanks sees somebody he doesn't want to get the One Piece, or he sees someone that he does want to get the One Piece, and it's probably both, right? And the person he doesn't want it to be Blackbeard, and the person he does want it to be Luffy, right? And so like, yeah, I could see him chasing after Blackbeard. I don't like because the trap would be, oh, he shows up to Egghead. He doesn't need to. Him showing up to Egghead would be the most overkill bullshit I've ever heard of. Like
Oh,
we
there's
have
no
two
way
Nikas.
Shanks is coming to Egghead. I mean, I'd be so shocked if the Giants made it to Elbaf or made it to Egghead before Shanks did.
Yeah,
Considering
and then, like,
Shanks
is
still
like,
has the crazy mysterious feat of traveling from fighting Kaido all the way to Marineford in a single day. Like this guy's like one of the fastest characters known to mankind when it comes to
unless he wants to
traversing
do
the
the
world.
thing of like heroes always show up last minute, just like at the first chapter, showed up last minute to save Luffy. He did. There's like no world you can convince me that like Higuma got that far, sailed to the ocean before Shanks. That smoke screen, the most powerful smoke screen in the world. Observation hockey stopping.
He used the binding vow to create that smoke screen.
Yeah, 100%.
The strongest one out there.
And Higuma's the speed of light. They may call him Mountain, but he is the speed of Kizaru right now. Going out, talking to Luffy, and then Shanks, showed up last minute, arm chopped off, right? Marineford showed up last minute. Cool. Egghead, that'd be so crazy if he's just like, go on, Nikas, and then he's like looking at Bonnie and like Luffy. That'd be so overkill. But yeah, him going after Blackbeard, it's just like a question of like, bro, Blackbeard's been everywhere, and you're trying to chase him, but like he's literally been like everywhere, and you missed him every single time. Like where is he going? And it was a predetermined. It's like the biggest question mark, I guess, is like when Kid showed up, he was already planning on going somewhere. So did that not change, or does it change because seemingly after all that happened, Elbaf received the news that Luffy is being sieged, and that's why Dory and Brogy left along with Oimo and Kashi. But so did the news not change anything? Maybe the Garp stuff changed stuff. Maybe he got the news of Garp and maybe he went to Hachinosu. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Shanks cares about, like, Shanks obviously doesn't care about Garp like that, right? That'd be crazy.
I don't think it was the Garp thing because we got the Shanks beating Kid portion before we got Hachinosu.
But the news headlines were together. The news headlines were together. It was said in the chapter that the next day's headline was that Luffy was getting sieged, and Garp was missing. Those were headlines set together.
That came out before, or that came out after Shanks left Elbaf.
But then you'd have to. Oh, so you're saying Shanks left Elbaf, and then Dory and Brogy got the news, and then they showed up.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. I mean, there's also the fact that there was so much news. Like there was like news headlines like every other day. So what was the one before that? Was it just the Reverie stuff? I guess it was the Reverie.
It was just the Reverie stuff. It was the Reverie stuff and Captain Kobe. Because we got Captain Kobe right before we got to Egghead. Like, oh, Kobe's been, he's captured or he's missing.
Yeah.
Like
dang,
the
so
Under Siege thing
parts.
didn't happen until after the little like Reverie flashback skip. Like the day after.
Yeah.
So Shanks, like by the time he was leaving Elbaf, had no clue that Luffy was sieging Egghead.
Yeah, that makes sense. Unless Shanks again stayed a little bit, then got the news. Which it would be. I mean, I'm sure he still got the news. It's not like if you're on the ocean, you don't get the news from the news goose, right? Like
the
Strawhats.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just talking about like the whole like he had a predetermined location, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm wondering if the news changed where he's going, or if the place that he was going to was that important. But at the end of the day, I don't think Oda gave us enough information to figure out like which way or the other for
Oh yeah.
If it's a predetermined location.
I
But
feel like for most of these characters, we have no real clue, right? We're kind of just guessing.
yeah. So Man Marked by Flames is probably the only like predetermined location that could like make sense. Because if you're going after the One Piece, you need that last poneglyph that the Man Marked by Flames technically has. So,
But it would also make you wonder, like, why would he go after that one first and not like the Whole Cake Island one or the Wano one?
yeah, especially because he didn't know Kid was showing up to give him the other three.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Huh. That is interesting. Maybe it always goes back to the part where it's like, but Shanks watched them make the map to Laugh Tale. Like he was sitting there like, and Roger goes like,
he
did you
must
guys
have
figure it
blinked
out?
at the last second. He like missed the last mark.
Oh, the famous blink theory from this stream. I keep forgetting what we talked about yesterday on stream in regards to the blink. But yeah. Something
And also people are saying that
OP.
Shanks and Buggy don't need the poneglyph since they know where Laugh Tale is. They don't know where Laugh Tale is.
Well, Buggy absolutely doesn't, but
Yeah.
Shanks, you could say because he was there when they made the map, like Oda drew
Yeah.
that in. But Buggy, absolutely not. Buggy was
and-
like, he had COVID or something.
Yeah, they stayed on the island, so they know like the general location of Laugh Tale, but they don't know like the pinpoint where it's at on a map. Unless, like you said, like Shanks like really paid attention when he was a kid.
Yeah,
and like waited for it.
Which like again,
But
like,
even
I'm
then,
not saying
like-
he has to. It's just
Yeah.
funny that he was there, that he was like,
And then like even then, it's like we don't know if Laugh Tale has like a specific like requirement to get there too, right?
Yeah,
like for
yeah,
all we know,
yeah.
you could show up at the location, but it's not like it's locked. For example,
yeah, like you might need an egg.
Yeah, it's
a
like
giant
it's like
egg.
why Robin said, "Hey, like you need all 4 poneglyphs, right? Like you can't just like get 3 or 2 and then try to determine where it's at. Like you need all 4."
Yeah.
So,
Which is also interesting. You don't need the actual poneglyphs. You just need the rubbings, which is like
Yeah.
it takes away from the part that the poneglyphs are important. It's just the information. But yeah, it is interesting. The other thing that a lot of people forget is that you need a really talented navigator also, because Robin asked Nami, "Can you figure out a map from this like poneglyph?" And she goes like, "Yeah, I think so." And we know Nami's like the most cracked navigator, so that would imply that like you also need a cracked navigator as well, which I don't know what the other crews are doing, but if they have someone on Nami's level, hey, that's pretty sick, you know?
well, hey, Shanks has who does he have again? His navigator is Building Snake, right? Yeah, Shanks'
I don't know.
navigator is Building Snake.
Oh, the Frankie looking guy? Like he's like big and brawly,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
And
Building
he has
Snake.
this-
Yeah, he
yeah,
has the
yeah, yeah,
tattoo. And then
Yeah.
Buggy, he has Baroque Works #1 intelligence agents, Mr. 3. So that works.
He's not a navigator, stop it. That's
but
like
he's-
saying Vegapunk's a navigator. Or maybe, do you think
Hey, yo,
Vegapunk can sail the ship?
I would. Vegapunk would be a great navigator, though.
True.
He would figure it out day one.
Yeah,
He would create
imagine,
his own weather.
imagine he goes, like, Lilith is on the ship or something, and they're like Nami's knocked out or some shit. And they're like, oh, we need a navigator. They all look at Vegapunk, and Vegapunk's like, why are you looking at me? I don't know what shit about sailing like,
Yeah.
or navigating. That'd be crazy. Because you're right. Like, he should know.
Yeah, being the smartest guy out there.
Yeah, caring about all the fields of science. Apparently, navigation doesn't count. That'd be funny.
So let's see here. Who does Blackbeard have? Who's his navigator?
Bro, Van Auger? Does he need
Maybe Vasco Shot.
Why Vasco Shot?
No, because it's a thing. Remember how like it was a thing in the past where like if you get drunk, you kind of just try to quote predict the weather. So maybe Vasco Shot's that guy. Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
He
That's
just
the
gets really
craziest-
drunk and is like, I think it's that way. And then
That's the
it.
craziest alcoholic propaganda I've ever heard of.
Yeah, if you drink a lot, guys, you're really good at directions.
Like, sponsored by Heineken, don't drink and drive. Like,
Yeah. I wish.
This is the craziest
Sponsored by
propaganda.
Heineken, sponsored by Michelob. Yeah, just in any one of these brands, really.
Yeah. And then they had to put a disclaimer: don't drive.
Yeah, don't.
You
Please
might
don't
be
drive,
good at
guys.
directions, but not
But don't
the wheel.
drive.
Yeah.
The next group we see is Buggy's group, and we don't have too much development from their side. They're still at Empty Bluffs Island, which, kind of crazy considering the fact that the Marines last talked about, hey, crocodiles last spotted over there. So the longer they stay here, the more, quote, in danger they are. You know, how in danger can you be with Mihawk and Crocodile on your side? I don't know, but, you know, like, it's still a nuisance, right? Like, the Marines show up, they're like, damn it, we stayed too long. It's gonna be like Shanks and Kid. Like, we stayed here way too long, guys.
Like, I don't actually. It's not that. No. Like every Yonko, taking on every Yonko requires an entire force. I was gonna say no.
Yeah.
But like, I was gonna put Buggy above that because having Mihawk and Crocodile is insane, right? And then you have like Impel down level 5, possibly level 6, and then they had Giants, but then they also have some Baroque works. It's like they have a force. And then I was like, they're probably like but then every Yonko crew is like this now. So like Luffy's we're actively seeing like if you minus Luffy, if you minus the Yonko in each group, who does the Marines have the hardest time sieging? Like
minus
take out all the Yonko, yeah.
So I mean, in this scenario, would we take out Mihawk?
No.
Mihawk.
Yeah, that's it, right. That's where my head originally was going at. Was like
if you take out all the number ones, Mihawk's like the strongest guy then. And if you consider Buggy the number one, yeah, Mihawk's like the strongest.
Yeah. Like the Yonko, yeah. That's Mihawk is like, that's just disgusting. He literally was just nonchalantly on his island, like not caring, right? Like yeah. And the crocodile is the one who fished him out, which is just like, I wish you know what? I want a Mihawk movie. You keep on asking me what movies I want. I want a Mihawk
movie would be good. That's a good one.
Yeah. But
you know what movie would go pretty hard?
What?
The Marines and their journey to find the One Piece.
Yeah?
Yeah, the Marines are like, hey, there's no way we'll just stand by. Let's go find it first. These guys want to find the freaking One Piece, dude. The One Piece or like the ancient weapons, and it's like, dude, like that's crazy.
But somebody, we don't know who. I'm assuming it's a Kainu because it's like the way I saw this part was that Oda didn't show Shanks, he didn't show Blackbeard, he didn't show Buggy, he didn't show a Kainu, and then the point was that at the end he was showing them. So I'm imagining the person who said that was a Kainu.
What if the person saying let's go find it first is a Kainu? Like we switch it.
That'd be crazy. No,
I don't think a Kainu has any input here. I feel like like it's one of those things that's kind of hard. Like they're all saying this, right? The Marines are like, hey, let's go find the One Piece. Like, let's not do it. Like Akainu's not giving his input here at all. So like this could
we don't know.
Die.
I assume that he's the one who's saying you dolts.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's just a random Marine.
It could be.
Yeah. I mean, but you can't prove it wrong one way or another.
Yeah, because in the Shanks panel we have the boss. You're drinking too much, and then shut up. I enjoy. That's obviously even though we don't see him. Obviously, that's Shanks, right? And then, but in Blackbeard's one, obviously Blackbeard's not there. But in the Marine one, we can't really tell. And then in the Buggy one, we kind of assume the Ha's are Buggy, right? So, but yeah, it's just interesting. The spoiler to one of my theories, I think that the Marines have been looking for the One Piece. Yeah. We just don't know about it. It's just they have been, because it just kind of fits a lot of what some of the other characters have been saying. So I think they have been, and the question is how. And I think Oda's been doing a good job of showing us how. We just haven't gotten it like explicitly said to us yet. But I'm curious, what do you think, just going back, like Crocodile and Mihawk, like what is in their heads in this thing?
They're probably like, hey, this is a great time to go find the One Piece.
Really? Because that's what their faces tell you?
Yeah. Because at first, like, you gotta imagine, like, they didn't want to find the One Piece, they just wanted power, they wanted to do their thing. But now Vegapunk's like, hey, waters are rising, everybody's gonna die, ancient weapons are a thing, the One Piece is gonna decide the fate of the world. So Crocodile and Mihawk are probably looking at Buggy like, wow, I can't believe like this is actually happening. Like, we do have to go after this now. Because at first, it didn't seem like they really wanted to. Could Buggy, persuade all across Guild and push Mihawk and Crocodile forward? Maybe. But now it's like these guys are, they literally have to now. Like, there's no beating around the bush. Like, they have to do it.
Do you think Mihawk quits, though? Isn't Mihawk's whole thing that he just wants a nice, peaceful life?
You can't have a nice, peaceful life if everybody's going for the One Piece ancient weapons and the world is sinking. So
fair.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't really have a choice anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So when like Crocodile kind of has like a disgusted face, do you feel like he's like, oh, this is like Shikamaru, like he's like, oh, this is a drag, but like I guess I got to do this.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Do
Like
you
this is
think?
annoying, but like Buggy ended up, not being right, but it's like the Caribou thing, right? Like Caribou's like, hey, I know about the ancient weapons, and then boom, ancient weapons are really important. It's like Buggy's like, hey, One Piece, let's go claim it. And then the next chapter, or not the next chapter, but the message comes on, and Vegapunk's like, hey, the One Piece is really important, guys. Like it's more important now than ever. So now it's like, okay, damn it.
Do you think they
Like, they
split
gotta
up?
go.
Like, do you think Crocodile goes after Pluton again?
Does he go after Pluton again? No, I don't think. Well, like, what do you mean? Like, split up from the group, like cross guild?
Like they divide and conquer. Like I don't know,
Divide
Mihawk
and
goes do
conquer.
something. Like maybe they each have information about something and then they go do it. And the only one I'm latching onto right now is the whole,
Maybe
crocodile part.
it depends how many ships they have. Like right now, I'm just imagining them all on the big top blaster for some reason. So
Well, they do. They have very skilled shipwrights. One of the nicest ships in the One Piece verse
yeah,
was built within a few like weeks almost, I guess. But like Crocodile came here on his own, so he probably has a ship. He probably has a bunch of Navy ships too, because he like got sieged by them. So
yeah. I personally don't see them splitting up. I think they're gonna stay together.
damn, that's a force to be reckoned with.
I think they'll stay together unless they acquire more big names under the belt, like Gecko Moria, for example, in Perona.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
If they get more people like Perona, Gecko Moria, Judge, Caesar, Weevil, maybe, like if they get these characters, then yeah, I could see them splitting up. I just feel like their force isn't that large right now, so I feel like just staying together is like the best route.
Do you think that Buggy's like? Do you think that Mihawk? Okay, so it was an interesting thing at Marineford, right? When Shanks showed up, he said like, "Oh, this was in my contract. You're not paying me enough for this, right?" Do you think that like the fact that Buggy's pitting him against Shanks in some light, and like eventually if they come to head, it's not gonna be Buggy. It would be crazy if Buggy fought Shanks, but like Mihawk, right? Do you think Mihawk like is happy about that, like, or does he not want to fight
I
Shanks?
feel like it might. I feel like if Mihawk fights Shanks under that context, it's just going to be another Vista situation where they stall and they're like, "Hey, we got bigger things to do." Like, I feel like the only way Mihawk will get serious about fighting Shanks is if Shanks is actively trying, like, "Hey, like Mihawk, let's settle this once and for all." Like, if they're simply like meeting up and they're fighting for a poneglyph, I feel like Mihawk's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it has to be an active duel for like the title or swordsman skill.
Yeah, and it's not like, because the weird part is like Buggy can't command me. He can't be like Mihawk, go.
Yeah,
and he's like,
Shanks is gonna have to be the one that says, "Hey, Mihawk, let's actually fight."
Yeah, Mihawk. Shanks gonna have to be like, you pussy. You know what I mean? And Mihawk's like, what'd you call me?
Yeah,
and then they start fighting because of that. That would be the way it has to go down.
I love Cross Guild, dude. I'm excited to see what happens with them. But also, my camera died. But we are also on the final page. So this
Which is symbolic.
Perfect. It's so symbolic. I thought about putting an image here in place of my blackened screen, but I think this does fit in with Emu and the mystery character, which is the main topic, right? Who the hell has a sword in the One Piece world?
Here, I'll be Emu. Hold on. Let me just put my eyeball on screen. No, it's too hard to just be like stale the whole time with my eyeball.
Emu kind of looks like Patrick Star, dude.
Yo, yeah.
This is one of the first times Oda's kind of drawn like eyebrows on him. Do you see that?
Huh.
Yeah, he's got he got eyebrows, dude. We're getting more and more of Emu every chapter.
Dude, next time we might get a mustache.
Yeah, don't say Oda's never given us more than a silhouette of the Emu, because it's not true, guys.
We've gotten a nose before, I think, right?
Yeah, we got a nose before. He's got like a very Anel nose, actually.
Yeah. It might as well just be an L.
Hey, you never know, dude.
Which is what people were saying about the silhouette. They're like, what if that's just an L?
Oh wait, the eyebrows don't match Anel's though. Yeah, they don't.
You gotta do eyebrow. Oh my god, you're right. We could eyebrow match now.
Yeah, we could eyebrow match. Hey, let me look at Anel's eyebrows. Yeah, it doesn't match.
Yeah, and like on the screen, we see like Kobe has thin eyebrows, Kuzan's covered. Figarland his eyebrows are
Like
opposite.
wide and a little bit thick. Yeah.
Yeah, Akainu's is kind of close. Just
Dude,
like if they cut
Anel
off
has
there,
the Anel might have the craziest eyebrows out of the bunch. It's like an upside down U.
let me see.
It's like the thickest line known to mankind. I forgot all about that.
Anel One Piece.
If you asked me what kind of eyebrows Anel has, I would not have pictured that, to be honest. I completely forgot they were that crazy. They're so pristine and perfect. Yeah, they're thick and like so well kempt in a way.
That also proves that he dyes his hair blonde, right? Because they're black.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Like the real Slim Shady. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but Anel is confirmed not to be any of these guys, thanks to those eyebrows.
Well, the silhouette could still be Anel with a sword.
Oh, my bad. I thought we were talking about the emu silhouette. Yeah.
Emu, obviously.
People were saying it's Higuma. I mean, Higuma had a glow up, and then boom, here he is.
Dude, I've been seeing those circles that people have been drawing on this to Higuma. Let me tell you, there are circles.
There are circles.
The things inside those circles may not necessarily match, but the circles do. That's the most important part.
It's like the Twitter meme where I think you brought up where like they circle. They're like, "Hey guys, check out this Kuina Zunisha connection," and they circle Zunisha, and then they just circle they circle Kuina, and that's it. No explanation, no nothing.
Armpit. They both have armpits. That's what they do.
Yeah, they both have armpits. Guys, this guy has fingers just like Higuma. But jokes aside, we do have a distinguishing sword. Whether or not this is like a common sword, supreme grade, doesn't matter. This sword, like look at Par's sword. So that right there is something that not a lot of notable pirates have, right? It reminds you of Roger, which had Ace, which is his sword. It's a cutlass. Shanks's Griffin also has the guard. Figarland has the guard, and those three characters are pretty well connected too.
Yeah, the only difference is that Shanks's sword is the only one that matches the one in the picture with the flat hilt thing. This would be a replica of Roger's sword, if you guys are wondering. But the other notable thing is, I don't know if we can assume this, but based off the shadowing, it's not a black blade, right? Like it could be, but like I don't know if it. I don't think
not having a black blade is that bad. I mean, Zoro doesn't have one. Shanks doesn't have one. Roger
did have one.
Well, at one point, yeah. Roger didn't have one. Whitebeard didn't have one. Venus doesn't have one. Like, this guy not having a black blade isn't that bad. I've seen people saying that, but it's like, this guys, come on. There's a lot of good swords without it.
It's just a signifier. But yeah, the only thing that we can really go off of is that the sword is like Shanks's, but we don't really. They could be anybody under the moon.
But also, they have a cape, which is kind of cool, or a cloak. But I guess like multiple characters here have a cloak. Yeah, like Shanks has one, Garling has one, and out of this lineup, Sabo has one as well.
Yeah, and I've seen people do the whole like it's a holy night thing, which like it could be. It could also not be, but I think the Holy Knight one makes the most sense.
Yeah,
we know, but the other people are saying like, oh, the right side are the leaders, but like we know if it's Holy Knights, then it can't be the leader because we saw like the Garling is the supreme you can't have a supreme commander and then have like a leader.
Guys, like, the right side is nothing but leaders, and then we have the supreme commander on the far left. But yeah, I don't know about that
that's
one.
not how that works.
That's a good idea. Like I was also trying to do the same thing, trying to piece together who's with who. But it's not that easy, man.
Yeah, because and then like I was just memeing on them. I was like, hey guys, like Kobe and Emu, because if this is a booklet, you'd close it and then Kobe would kissing Emu. Like, oh, that's crazy. Like, no, but like at the end of the day, I can't figure out a parallel for how Oda organized it. But it like Dragon, Akainu, Emu on that side, it is interesting that they're
there. I can see like something here. Just like faint glimpses here and there where it's like maybe the left side is supposed to be the new, not the new era, but like Yeah, that doesn't even work.
seconds.
Garling throws a wrench in this dude. He really does.
Yeah,
Garling is
Garling.
so hard because, like, the way I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, Sabo and Emu, right? The two far left ones. Sabo faced off against Emu. Sabo's the Flame Emperor. Maybe he becomes a new leader. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we have Dragon and Kuzan. And it's like, okay, like, you know, people were imagining that Kuzan's a part of the Revs. Maybe there's something there.
Oh, no. That one works because they're both Garp's proteges, right? Like,
yeah, and Garp's proteges. There we go.
Right.
And they were a part of the Marines at the same time. So there we go. And then Kobe and Akainu. Kobe's dating Akainu's daughter.
Or he faced off Akainu at Marineford.
Yeah, he faced off against. Okay, yeah, that too. Kobe,
I don't know why he went with the Riverdale plot. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, Kobe's dating Hibari. Hibari is Akainu's daughter. Rough time for Akainu. I mean, there's also Sword too, right? Like Kobe's like the new face of the Marines, essentially. You know, once Akainu steps down, Sword might, you know, take its place. So boom. And then there's Garling, and you know, because we can draw these faint connections with characters, I don't think it's that crazy to think that Garling, who's at the bottom of the middle panel, is connected to the guy in the bottom middle, which would be another Holy Knight. And we've seen in Dragon's like imagery of the Holy Knights, there is one guy in the middle who has this type of sword, this type of cape, and we don't see the hair or nose, but you know, it's the same like. You got two similarities there, the sword and the cape. And then we go to Emu in the flower garden, and there's one where like they bring Emu like the little Den Mushi, and we see a Holy Knight, I'm assuming, with that same sword, and he's taking a knee. Mm-hmm. So it could be him. I feel like we've been seeing this silhouette for a while now. It's like a ghost in the background. Like I can't wait till they pull off the cover. You know, bring out the Ouija board, bring out the little eye. Who is this guy?
Yeah. It is interesting, like the connection wise, like obviously the outline, like it looks like a Shanks outline in the Holy Knights thing. Everybody went with that, and then here we're giving it Shanks' sword, so it's not like crazy to make the Shanks twin, Shanks brother. And then there was that interview, that famous interview where Oda redacted the answer to what seemed like an easy question to just like toss aside. If someone had asked, like, you know, it's like, oh no, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like you could just say that and then it's done. But instead of doing anything like that, he had them redact
the Shanks of a twin brother. Well, Oda says redacted. And then there's a comment below it that says, think of this what you will. It's like, what? Huh?
Yeah, which is Oda's team after the fact, like censoring what Oda said, or Oda himself, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. You know, like, I don't know which way we're supposed to think about it, but like that existence is so crazy to just be there. We've always, like, back when we got the Holy Knights thing, we talked about this for hours and hours. And I think like the ultimate thing, we're like, yeah, he could have a twin brother. We just got to see more. And now we're seeing more. And I'm like, and then there's that manga thing. I always forget where it's from, but like that the editor made like Shanks fight his like clone or whatever. Which is like, okay. So Oda's like really like subliminally entering this into our brain, I guess. And now we see some guy holding what seems to be the same. And not to mention,
there's also the One Piece Wano, not key art, but he did like a promotional like line for Wano. And there's a character who had the exact same hairstyle as Shanks, like almost the exact same like outfit, but he's just blonde.
Oh, he's blonde. Oh, yeah. That's why you said blonde yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
See,
that's why I was like, if there's a Shanks clone, I think he's gonna be blonde.
That's why I have a version. That's why I have a version of this for something else that he's white haired, because Oda did something like that, but it was white haired Shanks. Which that's why I was like, maybe it's like a seraphim, but like that also is weird and crazy and I don't know. But the only reason I was thinking the seraphim thing is like, it's crazy that he has the exact same sword as Shanks. Like if he's a twin brother, like, okay, they get the same sword. That's weird. But we also know Shanks didn't have the sword when he was a kid. He got the sword later. So like the sword thing is also kind of like, huh?
Oh,
but
wait.
like we saw the Mihawk thing where Mihawk Seraphim has a replica of his sword, so that's not out of the question.
I like the idea that he grave robbed Roger and stole Ace. Like imagine this guy fights Shanks like it's his twin brother or like cousin or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, I heard I heard your master had this sword, and he just teases Shanks the entire time. Like, dude, I want this guy to be like an evil version of Shanks. I think that'd be so fun. Like, I would love if this guy killed Shanks. Like, cut off Shanks' head, roll it on Luffy's feet, say, hey, return the Straw Hat now, Luffy. Or, like, you know, burns down the tree at Elbaf. He's like, hey, Shanks, I heard you like these giants. And then, you know, like, oh, man, there's so much potential with this character. But also, I found the character that I thought of. So it's from the One Piece X Kyoto event. It's a character that has a name. His name is Lark. He's not canon, but he's a design that Oda made. Same haircut.
How do you spell the name?
Lark. And behind him, Oda drew like this. It's for an event, so it doesn't have to be like this guy by any means. See. But he has like this demon yokai tiger, which I think is kind of interesting since Shanks is supposed to be a lion, right? Well, technically Shanks is like a griffin. But Oda did say in a Vivid card that Shanks resembles a lion the most. So it's like, yo, like if this guy, I don't know, man. I feel like, you know, we could be cooking with this guy. Maybe this was another hint as to what Oda was, you know, thinking of or planning with this character if, you know, there is a Shanks lookalike.
No, this is cool. I've never seen this.
Sorry for everybody out there as well. I know my editing is not the best. But just type in One Piece Lark into Google and you'll see who we are talking about. His name is Lark.
Yeah. Luffy clocks his ass in the picture though. That's crazy.
Does he? Yeah.
Yeah. Hits him with the Red Hawk. Base.
Yeah, there's
hockey.
I think 3 things of Lark. Yeah, there's concept art for Lark. There's the color spread for Lark. And then there's also the one where like he's hugging this black-haired Hiyori.
He can turn into a Nue. Which is
a yokai.
Yeah.
Nue is a yokai.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's good. I love telling people about this because it's like, yo, like the Shank, dude, when it comes to like the Figarlands and expanding the Shanks lookalikes, I'm all about it.
Yeah. That's where yesterday I was like pretty stern on. I don't like the twin brother idea, but I can accept a younger brother because like we already know the Sussa Dragons. They like the many wives things. It wouldn't be crazy if Figarland like they lose Shanks. And then, or maybe Shanks was an experiment and a failure. That's why they never got him back. Like, that's also another question we need to ask ourselves. Like, why didn't they ever get Shanks back? Especially after becoming, like, a Yonko. Like, why did they ever reclaim him? But they, or if they did, maybe they did. We don't know. But the point is like, a younger brother is very, like, that's so easy to, people might not like it, but the only reason to not like that idea is the same reason to not like the Holy Knights idea, which is where were they, where are they, and who are they fighting? And Space Invaders, that's cool, that's fine. And as far as size, like headcanon of like, yo, if this guy's like so dark and like he's like the evil Shanks, and he's basically gives us the version of One Piece where Shanks is just a monster, then yeah, I could see that happening. He's fighting Space Invaders, he becomes desensitized, he fights all these people, and then he's like insanely strong, and then Luffy's the only one, Luffy, Blackbeard, whatever, the only people to take him down. I could see that easily.
And here's the thing too, like I don't want to get too hung up on the twin brother thing. Like I say twin brother to kind of encompass older, younger, all that stuff, like foster brother, even. Like I just say twin brother as like an all-encompassing phrase. Doesn't have to be like they're born at the exact same time, look exactly identical.
Yeah, if
it's
you
just
want
like
to put an umbrella,
around.
It's a Figarland, right?
Yeah,
like,
I think just saying Figarland would do myself a lot more favors. But yeah, I think what we're looking at is a Figarland, and I just feel like he doesn't even have the same hair as Shanks too. He could be like a spin on Garling's hair, because Garling's like, you know, he had the half moon, he had the full moon, or he had the full moon. Wait, no, he didn't. Yeah, he only had the full moon when his hair is in the SBS. But right now he has like the crescent moon.
Crescent.
Yeah. So maybe this guy also has like moon related hair, which would be kind of silly, but
that's also another reason why I was thinking white, but now they see this one, yellow's not a bad idea.
Yeah, a blonde Shanks, and then the New Way transformation's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's interesting because I have a theory that is like, well, like I think that this is how Oda's going to handle the Holy Knights, But I also like the yokai thing that you've been talking about for a while now, to the point where like the Santa Claus thing, like I agree with that. Now, my question is like, are all the Holy Knights going to be exactly, not exactly the same, but have the same kind of like abilities type of thing? Can they all do the same thing, or do some have to do one thing, do another thing? I don't know. But at the end of the day, like the yokai transformation to the new way, like that one works too. And then also the new way is Japanese, right? So that works really well. Oda making Figarland or Shanks, whatever, related to that. It'd be kind of interesting. I guess another interesting thing would be if the brother can turn into the new way, can Figarland do that? And if that's the case, then Shanks can do that, right? So then all of them can turn into this like lion, like tiger type of cat kind of thing, right? That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, or like something from the same family as them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all like
yeah,
different riffs on like a certain animal.
yeah, yeah.
So funny enough, Lark is a small bird that is
Yep.
usually often used to symbolize positive things like daybreak. And hey, I mean Shanks is a griffin. I don't know. But there's also like Mihawk,
Yeah.
which is a hawk, and then a lot of the females in the Marines are also birds too. So I don't know. I don't know what Oda was thinking when he made this guy. You know, like
I
I
think he
wish.
likes the design, but
Yeah, I
there's
think he likes
something
the
there.
design for sure. He loves that Shanks design. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's obviously something there.
yeah.
Um,
As
yeah,
there is with like most One Piece like little spin-offs and side stories that Oda does. There's always like a hint at something.
yeah, I'll show you my version of that after, um but yeah, I think Oda likes the design. It's not like the first time or last time. Like for example, he showed in Ace's good timeline he would look like Shanks.
Yep.
So there we have an example where Oda depicted a timeline of Roger's kid ending up looking like Shanks, which that should have no biological connection to the Figarlands. And it's a D clan, and so maybe like it could be a Shanks doppelganger, or it could be someone following in the same like not line, like timeline that Shanks is doing, but like that could be showing how vague timelines are. Like that could be another way Oda is handling it, but that would be more how to like nuanced, I guess. That would be a nuanced take on it. It could be simple, it could be deep. It all depends on how the other thing is by giving him a continuous Shanks motif, it lends you to believe that Oda had this plot point planned for a while. If it's connected to Shanks, I think that it's one of the things that Oda had not pre-planned, but more so like in his mind from a very long time ago. Anything connected to Shanks is like that for me. Which is why the Holy Knights were like separate for a while. But the more I like sit on it, I'm thinking like the warlords were like the thing that stretched out the story. If you took out the warlords and everything stretched out, and we just got the Holy Knights, the story couldn't make a lot of sense. Especially if you look at it like Oda introduced the Revs, he introduced Blackbeard in Drum Island. So if we stopped at Drum Island and like didn't do more warlord intensive stuff after Alabasta, then and introducing the Holy Knights around then, it could have made sense if we just hopped into more revolutionary stuff, which we're finding out the Revs were made to counter the Holy Knights. Oda had the Revs planned out for a very long time. So it'll be interesting to see how when we get this character. How many chapters has it? It's been like 40 chapters since the Holy Knight silhouette. So we got a second silhouette now. Second
Oh yeah,
silhouette.
we're getting more and more, man. Like I think it was right after Onigashima we got the first mentioning of the Holy Knights,
Yup.
and now here
Yep,
we
yep, yep.
are. We're making so much progress. So
Yep.
here's the last question I want to end off on, and this it doesn't have to be right, obviously, but when it comes to the Holy Knights, do you think they will be stronger and more competent than the Gorosei?
Please, for the love of God, please. Yes, yes. I think so. I think like there's more logic that I can have that supports that the Gorosei are like not they're I'm saying placeholders, but from like the opposite direction, where like yes, they're government heads, but they're like the weakest, strongest holy knights, but they were like placed there because they have knowledge or whatever. Whereas like the holy knights are Like it could also just be the Gorosei like old age, right? It could be that the Jupiter guy, he was a holy knight, and now since he's like the youngest one, he's now a Gorosei. It could be something like that where the holy knights are fighting something else. And the only problem with that logic is that like we'd have to insert that something else to explain all of this. But like, is the thing is like people have to accept, and I don't think that people wanted to accept this with One Piece, but Oda's already done it, which is that like Naruto did this, One Punch Man is doing this, like so many different mangas. We can list them off, animes, whatever, where the final villains that we set it out to from the beginning, they were fighting or stopgapping or stalemating some greater evil that makes them less evil, or they sided with that evil and they're like a bridge towards the evil. And like there's every single thing that I can think of, like there's a version of this where if the Holy Ants are doing something like that, that would change the scope of what Emu's doing. It would change the scope of what Shanks is doing. It would change the scope of what Blackbeard's doing. It would do that. And the thing is, Oda did place the space stuff, so like that's not crazy. I mean, the Gorosei are named after planets, so it's like there's interstellar things already placed in, which is where a lot of the other stories, when they introduce that, they don't give you the prior like understanding that there's more to the world than just this. They just show up and you're like, oh, that's kind of lame. But in One Piece, it's like, yo, Enel's backstory, the Gorosei's names, like there's the space pirates. There's so many different aspects to it that it's just like, it's not the weirdest thing to think that there's like otherworldly creatures. I mean, even like I've always wondered this: why did Luffy call it a space monster when he landed on Egghead? And he, like, how does he know what a space monster is? Like, maybe there's space monsters. Who knows? Like, Void Century. Like, we know that people came from the moon. So why would it be crazy? We know that there were other planets. So it could be that, like, hey, the other planets, there was an interstellar war. Everything landed on Earth. And that was Nika's time, and then now it's different. Now the Void Century was like a rising tension from that moment, and now it's trying to figure out how to go back to the original. I don't know, but yeah. So like that's the only thing about like the whole Shanks brother. I don't think you can be mad at the Shanks brother thing because like Figarland just need to knock another wife. That's it,
and
it's
that's easy.
that
I mean, like when it comes to like making people like Shanks. I mean, well, like, okay, that sounds crazy, but like, when it comes to making more Figarlands, really, for a lot of Celestial Dragons, it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's easy.
Like they got nothing else to do up there, dude. Like, it's that simple. And plus, like for Figarland, right? If Shanks defected, he joined Roger, and he's off being a pirate. It's like, well, who's gonna carry on the Figarland bloodline? Like, if Shanks was the only child. And the only child's gone, it's like you need another one. It's that simple.
It's the Sabo Stelly thing. They literally adopted a kid for it.
Yeah, right? Sabo's gone. Well, let's get a kid.
Yeah, which is why I was saying like it doesn't even need to be a Figarland. It could be like an adoptive thing, which Oda has also been doing a lot of. Or it could be the Doflamingo Rosinante situation. It could be that one is good and one is evil. And like Doflamingo and Rosinante are literally night and day for that. They literally wanted the same thing. That's why Rosinante left for Law. He was like, all right, this mission is less important than saving Law because you are the person that's supposed to destroy the world. Like he said a variation of that. And then he specifically said in a way that's different than Doflamingo. So like, there we go. It's two people wanting the same thing, doing it completely different ways. That's why I was saying, like, it could be that this is just like some person who wants the same thing as Shanks, but is achieving it in a completely different way. It could be as simple as that. And Oda has slated it out as Ace's good timeline. Ace's good timeline. He looks like Shanks, and we don't know much of the context, but like Ace is a very important character, obviously, and you could get that timeline where he looks like Shanks from a Roger and a Rouge. You don't even need a Figarland. But now let's throw in some Figarland DNA. Boom, you got half the Dana for Shanks right there. So it's not that crazy.
Yeah, not at all.
It'll just be execution wise. Like the one thing that we know for a fact, if he looks like Shanks, he's not weak. He's not.
Yeah, he's not. He's definitely not weak. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm a big fan of villains and evil characters. It's pretty apparent with how much I hype up the Celestial Dragons to and fro. Even part of the reasons why even part of the reason why I like the Marines too. I hope that this guy is powerful, and if I were to make a wish, I would hope that this guy takes down Shanks.
Yeah. What is the chance that this is the man marked by flames and a holy knight?
Not bad either.
Because when you take the context of the chapter, the side is realizing like the Marines are like, hey, we need to take the poneglyphs to stop the thing. So it's like, wouldn't that be the role of the Holy Knights then, right? Like the Holy Knights could probably handle that. Seems like a great job for them.
And then plus, like, another thing too is that Shiryu mentioned that, hey, like, it would be really smart for the world government to have a poneglyph of their own to gatekeep the One Piece.
Yep.
And we also need a reason for the Straw Hats to fight the Holy Knights or even go up to Mari's Raw in the first place. If they have the final road poneglyph, then it's like, hey, we have to go there now. We have to fight these guys.
And bringing the Revs into that mix too, because if they need to fight the Holy Knights, and one of the Holy Knights is the lead, well, not the leader, but like the youngest, strongest, right? Let's just say he's stronger. It doesn't need to be leader, but stronger. Let's just go with that. It could be that. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe the right is the stronger side, and the left is the second. Maybe, right?
Oh, that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is, right? Because Emu definitely fits that. And then this guy is probably if he's the Holy Knight that looks like Shanks and is young,
he's son of Garling in his prime,
yeah, they're stronger than Garling. Let's stop, right? Like, and then we know Kuzan's weaker than a Kainu, and then Sabo is weaker than Dragon. That could be that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and the thing too is that like, let's say this guy is not the man marked by flames. Let's say the world government doesn't have the poneglyph. That's not bad either, because with how the story's set up, like, it all depends on who finds the One Piece. If the Holy Knights join in on that race, then we're gonna run into them. Like, it's one way or another. The Straw Hats are they're gonna run into these guys, and I feel like that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yep, definitely gonna run into them. The question is when, who, where, and how, because if the Straw Hats are going to Elbaf, it's like, is Elbaf the spot? Elbaf is big enough to handle like all of this fighting now, I think. Because you saw the anime show Elbaf?
Yeah, it's massive, dude.
It doesn't look like one. The way
it looked too good. Dude, Toei, ever since they announced the One Piece remake, they've been amping it up.
Dude, yeah, they're like, you're now replacing us. And like, dude, Elbaf didn't look like One Piece anymore. Like, I looked at that, I was like, this is crazy. This doesn't feel like One Piece, but it's Elbaf. And I'm like, it looked like the Giants from memory. They just look like normal people on the island.
I can't wait until we get the One Piece remake and they give us that exact same feeling for arcs we've been to already. Like, imagine getting to like Arlong's palace, right? Arlong Park.
Woo!
And then we're like, wait, this is Arlong Park. Like, like, imagine that sense of like bewilderment. I would love that, dude. If they make everything look different and like they amp up the fights and the storytelling, it's just faster, snappier. Oh my god, like, it's gonna be crazy. And like, obviously they're gonna have a new soundtrack, which will be phenomenal. And an opening and ending. Oh my god.
Yeah. And like, I get, like, I like the original. I grew up with it. I watched the anime, but like, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it's not but like, the thing is, it's like it's updating it. You know what I mean? You gotta update. You gotta stick with the times, old man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you gotta be receptive towards change, or like the new era, right? The new era.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, it's not Oda. Like, Oda literally is just like, I'm manga, and I get the best of the best to do the movies, the anime, and everything else, and I trust them. And so if like, that's the thing, it's like he has the best of the best. He has the access. The thing is, he doesn't even need the best of the best. The best of the best wants to work with him. So at the end of the day, I trust it. I trust it 100%. And the thing is that our sneaking suspicion that, like, because when we first got it, like, the first shock was like, wait, it's gonna come out like while it's coming out with like while the current anime, or is it gonna be like years later? But like, our sneaking suspicion was that, like, oh, they're timing it so that like people can catch into One Piece and then binge it and catch up, so that like when the One Piece is revealed, they get as many people as possible. Because realistically, from a business standpoint, And from an author standpoint, the once the manga's done, it's done. There's the appeal of the anime, the appeal of the live action, the appeal of everything is dropped. So this is the best play they could possibly go for.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what the fights look like. You know, the music. Oh, especially the music. Oh my God.
I mean, we saw Sanji Jin like remade. That shit is clipped all the time. Like,
yeah,
all the time when people argue on like cross anime, like you said One Piece has bad choreo, and then they
oh my God, that's always
like,
I always feel secondhand embarrassment when people do that. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
you think One Piece has bad choreography? Check out 10 seconds of this movie they released. It's like, no, guys, come on. Please don't set us up. Don't do
like
this.
you could show them Wano, like that.
Yeah, our choreography, it's not awful, but it's not like it's not the best at times. I feel like the One Piece remake can go hard, considering how like they know people feel about fights nowadays, right?
Yeah,
like when it
the
comes
Zoro
to fighting
King
anime, people
fight,
love it. That was
Zoro
great.
King fight
Oh my God,
is the example I would.
It broke
use
records,
always.
dude.
Yeah, I literally have used that to get people back into the anime after being manga only, and then they're like, "Wait, Toei's doing it like this?" I'm like, "It's only gonna get better." And then like the worry was in Egghead that it would drop, and then we got the Lucci stuff, and it's like,
yeah, they added a lot more to the Lucci fight. Like they're spending time on these fights. Like they know that fights bring people in. Like as monkey brain as that sounds, it that's how it is. So I do think that in these 25 episodes, I think they're gonna go pretty hard in the fights.
Yeah, like now we have the Kuzan that like snippet. And it's like we can show that and be like, these are side characters, guys. These aren't even like the main characters.
Imagine how they make Captain Kuro look. He's gonna be insane. He's gonna be so insane.
I remember watching the live action with my wife, and then we were just like, wait, his power is so cracked. It made no sense for Luffy to just beat him after that. But like, yeah, they're gonna make him insane if they remake him.
Because he's gonna be like the speed of light in the anime remake.
Yeah, because Oda confirmed, he's like, yeah, he's moving at CP9 speed. And it's like, what?
Yeah. He's as fast as CP9 and he's living in the East Blue. That's insane. I mean, the caveat is that he can't control his speed. Or like
what
his,
does that matter?
Yeah. He's not like he can't control it, but he can still do it.
Yeah, that's the important part.
But hey, with that being said, though, thank you, Par, for joining me yet again. Thank you guys for stopping by, checking out this episode of the Parcast as well. You guys know where to find Par. We got a break week next week, so we're gonna be chilling. Perfect. But we will be back for 11/22. Fun little number there. And then One Piece Day is around the corner.
Ooh.
Yep, well, not around the corner. I think there's like 3 weeks until it gets there, but it's around the corner, sort of.
Yeah. Yep.
So you guys take care, and thanks as always. Peace out.